focusing around pressure with the Olaf top, trying to give some breathing room for their team to go aggressive. And for Vireo Green playing something honestly pretty wacky here, almost a pseudo, not necessarily a funnel comp, but putting a lot of pressure to give these carries some room, some breathing room, a lot of support to try and almost hyper carry their way through these matches, whether it be the Kindred or the Varus here.
Yeah, it's putting a lot of faith in the double AD, the double ADC of the Kindred and the Varus. There is a lot of tank shred to be found in the Varus, although the Olaf might make it a bit more difficult for the ADCs to be able to do their job.
So the question now here is to, which win con here ends up being easier to execute?
I think the easier to execute win condition would come from Mirage being able to just get onto the double AD and being able to shut them down would definitely hamper a lot of the damage and play potential of Vireo Green. But I definitely think that if Vireo Green pulls it off properly, I definitely see that comp being able to have a clear control in the match.
Oh yeah, are we sure the mic's actually on? Because I feel like I'm not hearing it through the headphones at all. Okay, it's on. Double check that, because only thing worse than a quiet stream is one where we sit here for 20 minutes and don't actually have any noise coming out.
Things. So how do you see the top lane matchup going between the Cho'Gath and Gragas?
So for the most part, things like that end up being pretty stally. They're really, it's classic, Resident Sleeper top lane for the majority of these matches. Unless you're got a lot of focus on the blue lane, I'd say if anything, the mid lane match is pretty tight. It'll really give High Key Savage the ability to show what he can do. After he struck his stuff in that matchup. He has the ability to get kill pressure, but it requires him to just be good enough to get it, be good enough to reach for those kills solo, work with his jungler properly, which we'll obviously see happen throughout the match.
Yeah, I think right now a lot of Vireo Green's game plan would come down early game to just essentially survive. If they can make it through early game with this double ADC comp, being able to get the Kindred to keep up and farm with the Olaf and keep the Varus safe in that Lucian Karma lane, I think that's the best case scenario. Whereas on the side of Mirage, you want to get that Aurelia onto the Lulu. You want to get that mid-jungle pressure as much as you possibly can. Knowing that Cho'Gath is going to be able to auto-push with his abilities and that your bot lane will have priority should give the Olaf a lot of room to be able to make a lot of effective plays around this mid lane.
Now the question lies too, obviously for biased casters here, but one of the biggest questions we have is, where does each team go wrong? Where in this game can both teams take a stand where things just fall apart? What is the Jenga piece that you can push that topples the entire thing?
I definitely feel that for Vireo Green, the number one thing that would be a problem is having the Varus be out of position to be able to have the Olaf get onto him very easily. Especially once you get that Cho'Gath with Righteous Glory and that Olaf with ulti being able to just dive on. Any Aurelia flank being able to push Varus out of position would definitely be where things can go wrong. I don't believe even a Lulu can save him from that.
Yeah, it's a good point to make, to have a hyper utility comp and not have anything to give those shields. Definitely
Ignite coming out in the mid lane. No mana on focus, but he does manage to make it back to tower. There will be a tower dive. Flash is blown.
Yeah, Savage going way too deep.
The flash coming in for the first blood on the Olaf, but a trade back immediately from Shorter Ace on that Kindred. Both mid laners down. Overall, three summoners blown, and just mid laners alone. Teleport still available to focus.
Yeah, and a little bit of action happening top lane too. Dropping just a little bit low. Is that the?
Is that the real Shiba?
I can't do Twitch chat. Oh, a Demigod going a little bit too deep. We're not gonna die.
Flash is traded for top lane.
But you have to wonder too, how necessary is it for Big to be kind of baiting the top lane? Oh, Shorter Ace coming in.
There's your answer.
Passing. I think it was a bit of an overstay here too.
Shorter Ace has just been on fire this entire tournament, being able to be right in the position he needs to be in. Not biased.
Yeah, not biased. A little Monka-esque there too, both top leaders kind of just not having much of a plan going into that play up there, but, Vireo Green here finding the lead from it, using it to their advantage and making something out at the end of the day.
I definitely like the fact that, though, the first blood went on to the Olaf off of that flash undertow, being able to secure the Lulu, Kindred staying in the game, being able to take the one trade kill, jungle up his top side, and then immediately go for that top lane gank. I was surprised to see the Cho'Gath staying near that tower for so long, and even flashing underneath the tower, knowing Kindred is likely in the red side jungle.
You know, we need to see too whether or not top lane being sort of a land of the fiesta, as we can say. You know, is this going to be a consistent thing we see throughout the match where both top laners just sort of look a little bit strange in their positioning? I mean, we just watched the Cho'Gath attempt to dive a Gragas 100 HP, so how much of this are we going to see? How much of the story is going to keep going?
I mean, I definitely believe that you're going to see a lot of trades, a lot of very risky behavior from both of these top laners. Not just ignoring the personalities of the top laners, but you also have the fact that you do have Cho'Gath and Gragas, two champions that can push the wave naturally just with their abilities. So you're able to see a lot more of those commits, and a lot more vision control being sent towards top side.
Another thing you brought up from before too, it's good to mention, is that Olaf getting that first blood helps to kind of keep him in this match. You know, Kindred versus Olaf, Kindred getting too big can kind of mean that Olaf loses a lot of that pressure that he's supposed to be building up on and supposed to be able to use. But by making sure he's securing the kills, getting himself up in some farms here, it'll keep him relevant for a lot longer than this hyper utility comp looking to have happen.
Very interesting teleport decision from the Gragas. He teleported to the minion about 2 feet from him.
When
they canceled
Did I miss that?
You missed that.
Oh,
I didn't want to cut you off, but
right.
teleported to a minion about 2 feet from canceled it. You saw a few MIA pings as a result from that one.
That is a pogger for me.
I mean, what you do have now, though, in all seriousness, is you do now have that Cho'Gath with the teleport advantage, as the Aurelia is able to use the dash to be able to get out of the pressure from the Braum. But now you have a Cho'Gath with a 2.5-minute teleport advantage, with a bot lane that does have push priority in this Lucian Karma. You might see a 4-man dive with an Olaf as he starts climbing up. He just hit level 6. He's got Predator. The Predator is just coming off cooldown shortly, in about a minute's time approximately. You might see a sort of 4-man or 5-man commit to this bot lane tower. If they can pull it off before they hit level 6 on the side of Wixie, I definitely feel they could pull that off.
Yeah, no, and it's worth mentioning too that why for them setting up a 4-man bot in that aspect, even that's their goal in their whole team comp. So it could be like multi-top coming in from Dinko. It's not a whole lot of connection there.
Yeah, not a great. They wanted to push the.
Now the question is do you blame the Gragas ulti for the DC, or do we accustom that to anything else that happened in this match? Because that was a little monk-ass, we do say.
That was a little bit odd. It was definitely a slight misposition. I mean, there's not even a flash, and I don't honestly understand what the misposition on that one was, because with no flash on the Cho'Gath and no mana, that was definitely a free kill if he knocks him into the Kindred.
Yeah, it's gotta be said too, we are not at the LCS studio, although it may sound that way. So these things do happen. Oh!
Tower dive coming down. This is, again, still a no mana Cho'Gath. I definitely think this is just another kill. A third kill. Shorter Ace on a killing spree.
And a late rotation from the Olaf, but he's still looking for a kill. He's still looking for
He does have the undertow slows.
Running out of mana here. There is no summoners left for either
the
of these
ultimate
units.
blown.
Olaf will go absolutely massively.
Shorter does still have the ultimate, though. Shorter held on to just enough mana for his ultimate. He'd be able to burn to the last of Olaf's ulti.
I feel like trading the kill there is absolutely fine.
Absolutely, especially if you can get it on the shutdown for that Kindred.
Yeah, that could have been. I mean, he gets to choose basically who he wants to die there. He guaranteed gets at least 1 kill out of that.
And once you kill the Kindred, that Gragas had no mana. There was no way of him being able to really push back. Plus, it's a Gragas. What damage is he going to do to Olaf?
I assume that the Olaf dies there at least one, but he guaranteed gets the kill.
Yeah.
I wonder what the cost sound like for Nova to pull off a play like that, where he was so confident, he went so big, and had potentially a way to keep giving himself some golden come, and now the Kindred is 3 kills.
The Kindred is 3 kills with a complete blood racer.
I mean, how is Olaf, the champion that is being picked in this scenario, to give them some wiggle room, give them the aggressive options, now on the back foot and not really doing a whole lot? I mean, he was late to that top rotation. He was late to that play.
You do have the farm ahead from the Olaf by considerable margin. That is what's keeping him to the gold. And hold on, you gotta commit on the mid lane, but both players with no mana decide to back off.
Yeah, a big committal, but not much really happening.
And the ignite blown from Aurelia.
Yeah, that's a bit of a miss. Honestly, I want to.
It was a strange play from the Aurelia. This Aurelia is very gung ho with the ignite.
In what world do you get a kill there? In what world does that play work?
Even if it's a Lulu, you can't underestimate the fact that she is able to just ulti herself and walk away from both of them, especially if you have no you have no mana. Especially the fact that you would look at it, the ulti was facing the opposite direction. It was 180 degrees away. Lulu is not going to walk towards your tower to get to safety.
Yeah, yeah.
Dragon secured by Kindred. That is a Mountain Drake, and with a fed Kindred, that is going to make objectives way quickly to destroy. You have double ADC.
Yeah, double ADC. But worth noting too that once again the top lane teleports have kind of rotated back again. Demigod used his teleport just to get his farm, try to keep up in the lane, and now Dingus got his TP back. We were talking about them having the opportunity to set up that 4-man bot lane, and that has not happened.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that teleport from Cho'Gath to get back to lane. I understand you don't want to miss a lot of your CS, but in reality, you're tank versus tank. You don't need to blow that teleport to be able to get back to lane, because now that one misplay that Dinka made where he was teleporting to the minion beside him, that's gone. There was nothing lost from that, aside from a little bit of self-esteem.
Yeah, no, yeah. And it's worth mentioning too that at an event like this, being live at the LAN, it takes a toll. Players get tired, especially after a very stressful match like this. It can be a big catalyst that things get hard,
Olaf coming in top lane, the flash is on. Great flash from the Olaf there.
Yeah, that's going to be a guaranteed picked up kill here for Nova.
That was a great flash by Novi, being able to get the flash to block that body slam, to stop him from being able to get under tower so quickly. Definitely helped in being able to secure that kill.
Yeah, and that is the power of the Olaf. I mean, it's an aggressive pick, and they haven't been using it very much to really do a whole lot. Speaking of going aggressive, if you're looking for the double grab, it's going to be hard up front that. And granted, I mean, it's worth noting, Olaf has to affect the Kindred, but why? Why in this rush hiring? Oh, high key damage on his focus, but all by himself is going to no follow-up.
Definitely.
And
massive play coming out from the side of
really
Mirage.
Detrimental now happening. I mean, that is a huge throw to have come through, and you have to wonder, where the comms? These people walked up and made a fight happen, and
there was no communications on where they were. There was nothing to sort of suggest what was happening.
We're looking a little bit weak there, but they're still working towards their plans. They're still.
You have the Varus that somehow, even in CS with the Lucian Karma,
yeah,
that is definitely the best you can hope for. If you have a Lucian Karma and you're able to go even in CS, that Lucian will eventually not be able to do anything to a Lulu Braum. Lulu Braum Gragas will eventually just be able to make sure that that Lucian cannot do anything. You're going to rely on the Aurelia for a lot of your damage. The Cho'Gath is essentially going to be walking the front line. When he gets tagged by Varus ulti, he's going to burn down the Kinstar.
Yeah, all that percent health damage really shows the Cho'Gath. Even later in the game when he's got 8k going on, it's consistent.
Right now, this is going to be, I think you've seen a lot of these games decided by jungle pressure. A lot of it. You have the 3-1 Kindred, the 2-0-2 Olaf. This is definitely going to be a game that, if I feel Mirage's win condition right now is shifted to, you have to end the game before Olaf starts falling off.
Yeah,
before
definitely.
He starts hitting that point where he can't kill the duo ADC. As soon as that point hits, the problem is that your Lucian is also not going to be able to do enough damage.
Speaking of Lucian, a big trade coming in from bottom.
Big trade coming in. Both ultis burned.
Not a whole lot really gained. They aren't preparing to go around the side of the map to try and pressure off.
I mean, you got map pressure off of that. That is what you need.
Speaking of map
But
pressure,
Schmidt
they're
being
agreeing,
sent
you're really
in
good
bot
at
lane.
maybe see if they get something out of it.
Flash bonus immediately. That will be a trade on two. Twice.
A kill picked up off
Twice.
there.
I go twice. Wixie coming in with the perfect Varus Q, landing it. And you will see a half commit onto this bot lane tower. I'm not sure I agree with this. I feel like instead you want to go for defense in here, and you want to reset. But they are able to get the tower, so never mind. I'm completely incorrect here.
Well, one thing we don't need to talk about though is that there are 2 pink wards sitting in the Lucian's inventory, and that roam was pretty obvious.
Very telegraphed.
They went very aggressive, backed up, and then pushed aggressive again, and there's 3 people waiting for them, and they have the ward to go up there and stop this kind of a thing from happening, but they're not thinking about it. They're not using their heads right now. Mirage definitely needs to wake up, realize. I mean, look at the buys right now. It's nothing but pink wards. But I have to question: are they going to put him down? Are they going to actually see play on the map? Because that's not what happened there. The mission was really, really poor, and they were worried about it.
I'm also wondering where will Olaf decide to use this Riptail? You've already conceded the first tower. You've already conceded that first tower gold. I would honestly look to basically Rift Herald mid lane, take that tower, get your Aurelia in a position where she's able to get out and affect the rest of the map. Yeah. You don't want that tower standing, especially not if you have the Rift Herald to be able to make a play.
Yeah, no, honestly, one of the for me personally, the Olaf going with the Cho'Gath has seemed to work pretty well. They have two good champions who punish the Gragas. They have a silence cover from dashing, and if he does, he gets unsilenced. Olaf has ultimate, he can chase him down.
Flash blown immediately from the...
I guess he's gonna get out. I guess Cho'Gath just gets to walk away.
Cho'Gath gets to walk away, yeah. I mean, he got the Righteous Glory completed, and because he was running in the direction of the Braum, he actually got to move speed away from Kindred.
That's unfortunate that they don't get the pick there for Vera Green, and picking Mirage, they're making it turn to mid lane. Here comes the
on the top side, but it looks like it's going to be a mid lane. And the problem is you need to see, there's not that fast of a commit onto this mid turret. They might be able to get two off of it if they commit for it, but it looks like they're not going to. They're going to back off, they're going to get their vision set up, and they're going to look for bot lane and Dragon.
And there's no ping coming in from Vireo Green. They don't know what's happening. There's the first ping. Dink is not ready for this. There's a 4-man commit bottom, and he's got to find a way to outplay this. There's really ulti miss.
Really ulti miss? But I think there are just too many members. There's way too many members at this point.
Yeah, there's no mini wave. They're not going to trade this turret back instantly. They have to go and either reset or leave one or two people down here to get this turret. But no matter what, they're trading.
Mid tower's for sure going down.
Alright, cool. And we're back.
So they did trade the bot lane tower for the mid lane tower, and they did get the Ocean Dragon on top of that. Personally though, you also now get the top lane tower if you're the side of Vireo Green. This is 2 towers for a tower, a dragon, and a kill. I'd say that's more than worth it. I do not think they're really going to hold this.
But the Olaf's still bottom. You know, you have to wonder why this rotation happens. We're going to see Cho'Gath here just walk from top to mid. Why couldn't he have gotten to mid in the first place? Why are they not pre-setting up some of these plays and wasting all this time now? You know, it's kind of a back and forth battle of just what looks more convenient. You know, we watched Mirage have a good rotation bot lane. That play was well set up. But now, like, we're seeing the inconsistencies of both these teams. And the biggest thing about the series is who can fix those inconsistencies, who can go through the series and do their best to make sure whatever went wrong in the last games gets fixed. And an amazing pause. This is the PogChamp gameplay you all came here for.
Intuitive gameplay. So you're looking at a
1 second pause.
a 1K gold lead on the side of Mirage, and then do you see that that's how this game was expected to play out, like this early game, like sort of the slight lead onto the side of Mirage? Because
yeah,
it does seem like it. It does seem like this should be the game where it's like you see a lot of early to mid-game rotations on the side of Mirage. I think now that you're cusping the mid-game, this is where you're going to see Mirage be able to take a lot of control of the map because you have the Aurelia able to move to different lanes. You have the Olaf that's able to affect a lot of the vision in the jungle. The problem is that, again, the later this game goes, the better it looks for Vireo Green.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at Mirage, if I'm Mirage here, I'm looking at trying to get these out, trying to get that last out of there and start trying to knock on the door of these inners, because if I can get mid-inner off of a fight, I can transition that into Baron pressure by getting into their red side top quadrant there.
Yeah, I mean, it is worth noting, though, that in the front line for Mirage, you know, the biggest pieces, the catalysts here for that team, they are the ones that are most fed. They are the ones that are going to be able to soak a lot of damage. Speaking of which, Short Array taking quite a heavy trade back and forth, but Nova, you don't have any follow-up. There's nobody here to help you out. He makes it back.
And it's weird is that you had 2 people sitting in the mid lane. They were ready to rotate, but they just didn't. There was nothing called.
Yeah, huge lack of communication, some trading happening in the bot lane, but you kind of wonder what's going through their head here. Why is there such a big disconnect when Nova is finally finding his footing? He's finally being aggressive. He finally has grown a pair to start going in and looking for some of these trades.
Champion.
And now his team isn't committing. His team isn't there when that's what they were doing early game. There's a huge disconnect between his, you know, the pieces of this team, and they have to work together. If they are going to play an aggressive comp like this with an aggressive jungler and wait on it, why is the disconnect there? What can happen in the comms here to ruin something like this so easily?
And one thing I want to mention also.
Okay. Oh, okay. You good? Yeah, go ahead. Good.
And one thing I also want to mention here is the Aurelia. You look at the build, she finally has her Triforce, she's got Quicksilver Sash for the Varus or the Braum. You have a lot of these tools, your Aurelia is finally starting to come online. This is when, if you're Mirage, you want to start pushing these item leads. You want to start pushing these power spikes.
Yeah, I mean, this is their chance to go huge. They're catching the Varus without having his Ginsu built up. He's not going to have all that much shred yet. This would be the biggest chance for them to start forcing some huge plays, looking for some larger team fights, and just trying to run them over now with the value town. You know, with the comp that they've built and have been looking to execute and haven't been able to find all game long.
Lucian obviously finishing that Blade of the Ruined King, building towards that Black Cleaver now, a pretty standard Lucian build. You will be shredding into the 2 tanks if you're him, but I think it's just a standard build here.
Yeah, no, there's no necessity for deviation here. The comp really is kind of squishy, and
yeah.
Oh, hold up. Nova going through
immediately. He does have the ulti again, but also has to flash. There's no way of getting around that. The ulti does not allow you to walk through walls, unfortunately.
Gotta get the Ghost Walkers from Nexus Blitz, saving him some time.
Now here's the problem that I'm noticing a lot of. You have these you have this comp that excels at this type of gameplay, at this sort of stage in the game. You're holding onto that 1k gold lead, which is expected from your team comp. And the problem is that your Olaf is having to live ulti to ulti just to survive.
Just to escape, yeah.
He's not being able to use it effectively. He's not being able to really use it to force any plays. Yes, it's not an extremely long cooldown, but the problem is that once that Olaf ulti's down, there is nothing that he can really do to allow him to get onto that backline, having to fight through a Braum and a Gragas.
Yeah, absolutely. They're in the Varus only too. There is nothing, he will never be able to reach that backline. So Mirage's big steps forward are 2 things. Number 1, they finally start using the Cho'Gath Olaf either in team fights or they actually just put him in the side lane. We've been seeing Cho'Gath get favorable trades. He's been doing it constantly. He chunks Thinket down to half, but he can't force the all-in without the vision and without his team's assistance. So he's not seeing any value town. He's not getting anything else extra. If they actually delegate some resources, actually give Cho'Gath some extra breathing room, there is a world where Cho'Gath gets to just run through Dinka and they get so much value from it too. So, you know, it's like,
and the Olaf, as we say it, Olaf ulti blown 3 people top lane, but an immediate response from Vireo as you see double TPs coming in, the wraparound from the Braum and the Varus. Varus ulti misses, but you see the Aurelia. She is stuck in the middle of the team.
And the Cho'Gath having to flash away here. They're overcommitting.
Olaf ulti burned. It is an amazing flash by Dinka, and that will drop the
turnaround.
But too much, could it be possibly too much commit on the side of Vireo Green?
Now Vireo Green bringing it back, just barely. The Ignite takes off on the Varus, but an absolutely insane team fight.
And that's the problem, and that's the power of that double ADC. If you're unable to get onto them immediately, you have the Olaf ulti blown on the Lulu. Yeah. That's not the target you want to go for. It doesn't matter if that Lulu dies. If you have that double AD and you've already blown Olaf ulti. Because as soon as that Olaf ulti wears off, there is nothing. You have too much CC on the side of Vireo Green to be able to stop him.
Yeah, absolutely. Way too much of an overcommit from Mirage onto the Vireo Green mid laner there. They pick up the Baron. That's 3k gold almost now, thrown back into the pockets of Vireo Green that wasn't there before. You know, this will help stagnate some of those losses, help maybe even get Gragas to a state where now they've lost the option to just run through Gragas. They had options now to look for team fights, to look for side lane pressure, and they're going to start losing that slowly now. And this is what Mirage was afraid of when we said it at the start of the game. This is the point where Mirage is no longer going to be able to execute that strategy that they wanted to. They need to hope for a miracle. And that team fight was close. They almost had it.
The team fight definitely was close. One thing I also want to mention is if you look at the kills on the side of Vireo Green, it is perfectly split amongst the ADs. You have 6 kills on the Kindred, you have 3 kills on the Varus. These are the only 2 people you want these kills on, and they're the exact ones that are getting it. The Cloud Drake traded on the side of Mirage, but the Baron going over to Vireo Green.
Yeah, things are certainly just looking really grim for Mirage. I mean, looking at the items now, Varus he's finished his Ginsus, he's getting closer to not the Rapid Fire, the Hurricane, getting really close to getting that Hurricane finished. These tanks are not going to be able to soak the damage anymore.
And Kindred being able to sit on these 3 items, she has the Black Cleaver and the Blade of the Ruined King for Shred, along with Blood Razor.
it's just going to be way too much to deal with. And
There's too much percent health for this Cho'Gath to deal with. But if you look at him, he is not building armor. He is building for HP. So I really like this Kindred build, being able to just hit for percent max health constantly. Now, if you're Mirage, how would you get back into this game? How would you sort of look to, I need to get back into this, as a fight breaks out and just deletes Karma?
Yeah, Gweiss getting in the wrong place there, getting picked off, and Vera Green looking to just close this game out now, being confident and saying, look, you're in the wrong spot, I know you are, I'm ending your life. And they do it, they make it happen. The best thing that I mean, at this point, they're going to be choking out of a lot of gold. We're going to go close to a 5K goldie at this point. But Mirage needs to find their footing. They need to look for the reset, stall this Baron out the best they can, and once the dust settles, pray to God they can find a proper fight. And this is not going to be it. Dinosaur is taking a small chunk before even getting to defend the turret here.
Mirage is being completely zoned off this turret. The first inhibitor of the game falling in favor of Vireo Green at the 25.5-minute mark. Baron still a minute to go on the timer, and Mirage just clawing at these minions, trying to clear it out and rotate to mid in time.
Yeah, Vireo Green not backing off. Yeah, they're still pressuring around this mid lane, looking for more value. They know they have the strength and numbers to do it.
Now you look at this Olaf flank, he is looking for something. Vireo Green bracking off smartly here.
And when the dust settles, it seems like we're just going to be doing a bit of a dance here for a little bit, not too much action really happening. And the question is, do they keep pressure? How confident does Vireo Green feel here? They have all the eggs in their basket, and they're going to go for it. A lot of damage dropped down on the Cho'Gath.
That's the Cho'Gath. That is just the tank, as he is just gone. But possibly being traded back onto the Varus. The Lamb's Respite comes in. Will it be enough? As an immediate double kill popped up.
Oh my lord.
That is both of the ADCs dead. You just see there's just no more damage left from the side of Vireo Green.
And Mirage, they prayed to Jesus there, and they found it. They found their Lord and Savior, because that was the fight they were looking for. That was the setup. The entire team drops low inside that Kindred ulti. Even after the heal, it's not enough. It's not enough to bring them back to a good state. And I perfectly put Olaf Cleaver on the flash, removes those two people, removes two of the biggest people from that team, and gives them the victory.
Now, you gotta also reprimand Vireo Green. They were obviously sitting on a lot of gold after all of that. You know, they took about 4 towers, an inhibitor, and a team fight.
So what we saw,
and
that,
they're
that
sitting
4K
there
gold
overextending
lead,
for so long. That 4K gold lead, it meant pretty much nothing because of the fact that it was all sitting in their pockets.
Yep. So now what we're going to see is that once this gold does get spent, does that fight happen again? You know, is it possible for Mirage to find a fight similar to that and be able to get Value Town the way they did in that battle?
But you now also have Varus. He has that Hurricane completed. He's got that power. He is online now.
And the Zhonya's from Focus was not there before, yes? There was no Zhonya.
The Zhonya's is new. That is a Lulu now with a completed Zhonya's just purchased, along with the Knight's Vow on the side of Odd Turtle.
Not Knight's Vow, it's
Knight's Vow.
No, that's what is it?
Oh, that's Zeke's.
Zeke, yeah, Zeke's Harbinger, yeah.
Oh, someone else that purchased the Knight's Vow.
I'd like to say amateur caster desk, by the way, just a heads up.
I do not do casting full time.
All right.
Now they found the fight, but once again, you're still, if you're Mirage, you are still dealing with this 2.5K gold lead, or 3.5K gold lead. But where is Stinka?
I'm not gonna find anything.
I'm not gonna find anything, but it was weird to see him there. Was he just looking for the flank on the tower defense?
Yeah, something, but
you do have this Aurelia that has to deal with the minions bot lane now. She does not have a TP. She would have to run if they commit for this tower, but instead they're going to back off. They're going to set up their vision around Baron. Vireo Green just wanting to take it slow right now. I feel like they're still reeling after the last team fight loss when they took it too fast. They overextended for a little bit too long. Now they're looking to play it more safe. They're looking to maybe close this game out their way. They know their win conditions, and they don't want to overextend, believing that they have the damage just by right.
And on that topic too, I really hope to see that Vireo Green does not shut down after a loss like that, after a team fight crumbling beneath them, because they do have the gold lead, and they should be aware of that. They should know that you have to stay confident in situations like this, because if they lack to pull the trigger, as we saw, Mirage can still make a team fight happen. With a proper flank and a good setup, they can still dismantle what's going on the side of Vireo Green, 100%.
You see the double Righteous Glory now on the side of Mirage. You have that Righteous Glory on the Olaf and on the Cho'Gath. You have the Aurelia. She has finished that Sterix. She's still sitting on that Quicksilver Sash. She is hitting that point where she is able to be an absolute nuisance to this double ADC line of of Vireo.
Demigod caught out a little bit.
Cho'Gath caught out from the team, but is able to find the flank. Olaf pops the ulti, but has to back away. Too much damage from the Kindred.
And a massive engage from Aurelia.
Lamb's Respite has to come out immediately. Look at those blinking health bars from everyone.
And
just an
clean
immediate cleanup from Mirage.
Man, it is a panic. Oh, yeah, never mind. never mind.
That will be a clean ace, 5 for 0 on the side of Mirage.
And that's the fight they were looking for.
And look at the timers. You have Baron coming up in 15 seconds as well as Dragon.
Now, I mentioned they praised Jesus, but are we sure they didn't sign a deal with the devil? Because that was the team fight. That was
the exact team fight they needed. Vireo Green funneled themselves into that choke point. They are the ones that decided to take that choke against the Aurelia Cho'Gath Olaf. That is not the choke you want to be in. You want these open fights. You want lots of room for your ADCs to kite it out. But the problem is they went chasing after the one target that's going to take them the longest to kill.
And Varus is a splash there too. He has no tools left for the team fight that comes up. I mean, if you look at the side of Mirage, they used no summoners in that fight. They used the Cho'Gath flash to get him towards the backline, and that was it. They had to commit nothing for that fight. So now going forward, the gold's back, are just about equal. The inhibit's back up for Mirage. If they bounce back from where they were and use this momentum to run down, they're in a very good position to go absolutely huge. Looking at just the CS to 50 differential between the mid lane, Aurelia, and the Lulu, that's a huge gap. I mean, that's thousands of gold that the enemy team is, granted, the gold's equal, which means there's only 2 threats, and the Lulu does not matter, essentially. The Lulu
is essentially at this point a shield box. She's a shield box for the double ADs.
Which...
Now, we mentioned it, on the side of Mirage, how you come back into this game, they have found that way back in. They've taken the fights they need to take. Now, if you're Vireo, how do you regain control here? How do you you see the game, not necessarily slipping away from you, but definitely no longer completely in your favor as it was not 10 minutes ago. How if I'm Vireo, and that might be exactly it, as Weiss just goes down. No peel for the Olaf as he drops as well. Shorter going toe-to-toe with this Lucian. Lucian does get the kill, but Dinka comes in for the cleanup. Cho'Gath recognizes that he doesn't exactly do enough damage to melt this front line as he decides to back off and defend the base. Wixie being able to heal up with this lifesteal. The Varus being able to survive that Olaf assault definitely puts this back into the favor of Vireo.
And they're only down for 30 seconds. They can look for the inhib here, but if things stall for too long, they still have to deal with the Baron minions. They do have those to stall with. So now
you have the Cho'Gath to stall it. I don't know. The Aurelia is still sitting mid for some reason.
Why is she mid?
She decided she wants to.
Oh, the mic fell. Uh-oh. I didn't even touch it. Monk ass, hold up. We're back. May have had some technical difficulties there.
So, as we were mentioning shortly before the mic decided to fall off its stand, there was definitely an overextension going on if you're Vireo Green. You overstay. That seems to be the name of how... That seems to be the name of how they get back into this game. How they seem to continuously move this game out of their favor is by constant overstaying.
Yeah, and we're seeing it here. I mean, once again, the deal with the devil. Does this carry over into the other matches? Does Mirage ride with this?
Ooh. Going in on Weiss. Forces out the mantra as Cho'Gath is on the wrong side.
And Lucian gets nabbed. Wait, fine.
A commit onto Dinosaur. Lucian unable to get away from these guys.
Alright, I thought they were going to let the Lucian slide there, and I might have lost a little bit of confidence in what was happening there. But honestly,
every time that you think Shorter Ace is out of this game, he proceeds to vault over several walls and jump onto a target that he needs to get on that seems to be by themselves.
And it seemed to work out for him. The Cho'Gath got way too
The Cho'Gath was knocked in by Gragas ulti. He walked forward to try to defend the Karma, and Gragas ultied him in.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like if Mirage rides to confidence and actually commits to that dive, Cho'Gath still lived for quite a while there.
Cho'Gath can live for a while. He stood there for a long time, being able to survive.
Yeah, but Tom's looking to make it happen.
And judging from that from that Chain Vest, I'm assuming it's either going to be a Dead Man's Plate, which is unlikely, but more likely you're going to see the Gargoyle Stone Plate, which is going to allow him to live for so much longer. As Vireo tries to take a tower with absolutely no minions.
Yeah, that's going to be a yikes for me, dog.
Right.
They wasted about 30 seconds they could have
decision.
used to be clearing vision, getting Sidewave burnt. Now they're just grabbing some of the Sidewave camps.
And I mean, you look at this Kindred though, she's building up the last Whisper item. She's building up her LDR or possibly Mortal Reminder for the Olaf heal, the Aurelia heal, and the Cho'Gath.
Also, one thing, can we know this real quick? I missed this at the start of the game. Kindred went Swifties. Kindred bought the Swiftness shoes.
I mean, if you look at the build she's going, she does not need further attack speed from Xerxes.
No. But Merc Treads against all of that crowd control, the Aurelia stuns, the Cho'Gath silence, I believe is effective with tenacity. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat.
I don't think so.
The slows from the Bork and from the Karma. Why
I feel like if anything, I would go for Ninja Tabbies here because you are looking at all the priority threats from Mirage being these AD threats, and realistically, I don't think they need the Merc Treads. The Swifties, I think, was because you're doing so well on this Kindred early, you're being able to exert all the pressure you want, being able to use that those Swifty boosts to get to your lanes faster, to outpace the Olaf, which should not happen. I mean, Kindred is a counter into Olaf, but this early game went so well for Kindred. I think I find myself agreeing with this Swifties vibe.
I don't know. We'll definitely talk about it more after we're off the air. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because that's going to be a big question mark for me as well.
What I'm wondering is the Sword Boots on the Lulu that doesn't need to be doing damage.
Yeah, it definitely seems like kind of
that seems a bit greedy.
A misunderstanding of their role. You know, when you're down, what, almost,
I'd probably go
you're
CDR.
above a Flame Horizon now. You're 140 CS down. How much do you really care about having
you're
15
funneling
penetration?
everything into this Varus.
Yeah.
Who still is behind in CS, but...
Yeah, now imagine having that goal towards a Locket, or having towards a Redemption, or something to just be utility, or even, I mean, we don't even have an Ardent. We have 2 attack speed 80 carries here, and there's no Ardent build. Nobody got it.
And you see the Lulu building towards that Death Cap.
Oh my lord.
Death Cap Lulu.
And the blasting wand hanging out in the inventory as well.
Although don't you need...
Oh my lord. Something
you do
amateur
look
at its finest.
You do look at Elder Dragon. It is coming up in 10 seconds with Baron spawning in 40. These objectives are going to be massive. And the thing is both of these teams can clear Baron and Dragon so quickly as we see a rundown from ulti coming in on the Cho'Gath. Olaf coming in with a flank on the 80 carries. Immediately, Short Race dies without popping the ulti, but Cho'Gath trades back.
And Aurelia still looking to go massive with the
Dinka sitting there just dying to the Lucian with no peel.
And that could be the game. They have a wave top lane. They can run down. They've got 4 members alive on the side of the Mirage. It's looking pretty grim for Vireo Green. I think that's the game. I mean, 50 seconds on the ADC. They can just run it down. They've got plenty of time, and all there is to stop them is the Sword Boots Lulu. That's all they have to stabilize off of this loss here.
If you've noticed, all of the fights that Vireo has lost has been them committing onto the Cho'Gath first. And they commit so hard onto the Cho'Gath, they give themselves up for that Olaf flank.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you have the Olaf and the Aurelia being able to flank around.
Yeah, and that's going to be the game. Mirage
That will be the game.
One, right? Yeah.
Mirage being able to take it back, to take back the pressure, to redo this early game, spin that back around, and secure the Game 1 victory over Vireo Green.
Yeah, so going into these, I guess we're still in the air. Going into these future games, the biggest thing going forward is both teams working on the consistency. We've seen the strengths of both sides, both teams being able to take their confidence and run with it. But it's not consistent. Neither team seemed like they knew why they were confident. They were just being confident at the wrong times. So we'll see how it goes moving forward. But for now, we're going to mute and wait till we get back to the next game.
That was fun. again, everyone.
Alright, welcome back to the Cringe Cast. We're here at DreamHack Montreal, casting the games between Mirage and Vireo Green. Mirage being up 1 game so far in the best of 5 series here.
Now, looking at the 2 comps, you have definitely a lot of emphasis on priority lanes to help this Graves out on the side of Mirage. Whereas looking at Vireo Green, just knowing off of top of my head, this is a lot of comfort. This is a very big comfort sort of draft for Vireo Green, wanting to go back to sort of the basics, make sure they have, don't try to do any fancy double AD support type comp, and just go back to, comfort picks, make sure that they can do as much as they can in the game.
Yeah, and comfort comp's about all you can save for it. It is very much against the grain, and when it comes down to crunch time, that's sometimes what you have to do at these LAN events. That's what you have to do when it comes down to these big cash money prizes. You have to bring something spicy out. You got to add a little bit of tang to the draft, because you catch them off guard, you take a game, and going into the next game, if this all plays out well for Vireo Green, Mirage has to think, what in the world are they playing? What are we playing against? Who are these people who opened up the zoo and let everything run free?
Like if the Vireo Green won last game with that sort of comp of the Kindred Varus with the Lulu, Braum, and Gragas, you'd be able to sit there thinking, oh, okay, so that's the sort of style they won. They won to put Wixie and Shorter in a position to carry and go from there. Now, that's not what you're looking at. You're looking at, we don't know what they're gonna do.
Speaking of not knowing what they're doing, Asuda would be coming in with a strange, not really much of a lead. Why invade through the river like that? The meta nowadays is you ward at 120. Everybody does it. It's across the board. Every single person does it, whether it's a mid laner, support, top laner, jungler. Somebody wards the river. Scuttle grabs are way too important. So if they wanted to go for an invade there and look to try and get either like the Raptor Vision or know where Nidalee starts, why invade the river where everyone's going to stand? Go to the top side. Like, is Mirage really not paying that much enough attention to realize that every team does it? I mean, we see it right. Actually, did neither team do a 120 ward? Actually, that was
neither team. Well, you have one that's warding the entrance to the river, but that's about as all you get.
Alright. As we talk about
so
that,
both teams not paying attention.
Yeah,
to,
which granted, there's a reason for it. There's a reason why it's become meta. Speaking of not meta, a little bit of poke coming down onto Dinka. I mean, I think we're gonna see something pretty similar to last game of. I hope the teams adapt. I hope we see more confidence, more aggression coming out from both teams, because obviously both teams built to be aggressive here. Both teams have aggressive junglers. They have mid lanes that go pretty either way. Obviously, the Ryze losing priority a little bit early, but Ryze is in a good state now. With the use of Time Warp
Tonic and state. The Time Warp Tonic, Corrupting Potion, and Biscuits.
The Biscuits, yeah. Like, there's just so much sustain in that lane.
You get to get your first tier, and you can just sit in lane for such a long time. One thing to note as well is, once again, you kind of have that style of the later this game goes, you can have the Gangplank and the Ryze and Varus sort of scale. The later this game goes, the better it looks for Vireo Green. Whereas you have the side of Mirage where you have the LeBlanc and the Gnar, which do fall off later as the game goes on.
Although it is worth noting too that the later the game goes on, if High Key Savage on LeBlanc gets going and starts to roll, there really isn't a whole lot to soak the damage for. You either have to build some defensive items onto some of these carries that don't want to be building that way to soak some of the poke coming through, because the LeBlanc's gonna pop out and just get a QR and jump back, and there won't really be a whole lot of follow-up besides maybe 1 or 2 abilities coming through. The LeBlanc should have plenty of wiggle room later in the match to start dictating things about the game if she's confident.
If she gets ahead.
Yeah. So there can
sort of
be
one of those, if this
for
lane goes even, that's exactly what you want if you are Vireo. Ignite coming out from the side of the Odd Turtle, trading for the Flash of Voice, definitely a worthwhile trade. Put Shorter on the map so you know where he is as the Graves immediately goes for this top scuttle.
And this is a really good split of the map here. They knew the Graves started bot side. He's rotating to the top side of the map. This is no man's land bottom. They're going to need, oh god, the spear lands and a perfect
The spear lands. That was honestly lazy from the Tristana. You had all that time to see the spear as a tower dive comes through.
And they know.
And the Gragas actually holding the tower aggro for as long as he needs to, as Shorter Ace gets a kill.
And that's a great show of confidence. They set up a play, they knew what they were doing going forward, and they executed on it.
They registered exactly where the Graves were starting, so they knew there was going to be no further attempts of a possible Graves showing up to stop this dive. bot lane gets to reset, sitting on a Serrated Dirk immediately on first back at 4 minutes.
And that honestly might as well be game right there. If they can properly use this bot lane pressure and all this poke, what is Mirage supposed to do? They have no sustain to deal with any of that.
It's one longsword versus a Serrated Dirk on the side of the ADs right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Corrupting Pot. The Bars has the Corrupting Potion time lock. He's running that kind of scaling stall build, but he's got to just throw a free Serrated Dirk into his kit now. He's going to hit like a truck. They're never going to be able to push him out of lane. He's going to sit there and just take 400 HP chunks out of their bot lane every single time his Q is up now.
Now, one thing I want to note that was a negative for Vireo Green there is Shorter Ace staying in the jungle for much longer than Novi. The problem with doing so is that you make a great play bot lane, you get that dive, you have so much tempo over this Graves, but he's able to get his back in far before you because you overstay to try to take some of his jungle, and as a result, what happens is that you get a later back, he gets on the map first, he could make a play if he wants to.
And we'll see if anything happens here with that. Dinka playing a bit farther up because he knows the Graves reset and gone towards that bot side, and a smart recall from the mid lane to kind of reset the wave and kind of get himself into an equal position. So hopefully there should not be any aggression from that Graves. He shouldn't be able to find anything in a couple of minutes unless he starts pushing for invade, pushing for some deep revision.
Ooh,
and Dinka taking
Demigod
really,
going hard on this Gnar.
And a huge play from Dinka trying to
and
get
he
the
lands
kill
the
back.
stun, and that will be the solo kill for Demigod. As a bot engage comes through, this will be a 3 versus 3. As Shorter is forced to flash over, you see the jump come in.
Oh my god.
As Dinosaur is now left all alone, all without friends, as you see 4 people now roam all to help out this.
And Gragas goes down. The reset on the jump for the Tronopine shield. Get the safety. Braum shield blocking all of Focus's damage here. But Shorter's back in the fight. And
a perfect snipe coming through on Wixie as Shorter is now right in the face. Honestly, where you kind of want to be if you're a Graves and you have a Nidalee directly in front of you.
And honestly, a pretty big overstay. They flash. Or whatever. And a pretty big overstay from Mirage there. They had something favorable. They had a good scenario. They burned the flashes. They put Vireo on the back foot in a scenario where they should have been ahead. But they stay too long and they get poked out. Everyone gets the reset. Those potions get chugged. Those biscuits get eaten. And they get
Dinosaur dies without using his flash. His flash was up when he died.
Further too, there were teleports top. The top lane just died. If there was communication, Demigod probably could have made the way back down the bottom with that TP to assist his team in this really delicate scenario.
It would have been it would have had to have been a really far extended fight. They would have had to have been able to read that they weren't able to burn the rest of Vireo Green. So I can't exactly fault Demigod for that. But it
would have definitely been tight. It would have been
like a very risky to go for that teleport because there's a very good chance that you go for that teleport, you teleport down there, you get nothing, and Gangplank gets to walk back top lane and farm for free.
There's the other side of the coin too, where if the teleport gets spotted, they assume Gnar's coming and the communication is true. There is a scenario where Gangplank gets stuck teleporting bottom as well, and in response has to come. He's already down in the lane, then has this wave bouncing back towards him. There is a scenario where it affects them fairly negatively. Speaking of negative,
now this is just bullying. This is just bullying. And that is honestly how the game plays out for that Gnar versus Gangplank matchup. If Gangplank does not have barrels to be able to throw at this Gnar, as a tower dive potentially comes through, Shorter Ace being able to read that play, just so much damage. The collateral damage forced to come out. As Shorter Ace deletes Novi. Now, will this be a turnaround for Demigod? He is level 7. He has that ulti. Does he go for it? It looks like he is trying to commit for this.
But Haikyuu's here now, and Dinka's almost out of the fight.
And you are looking at it where Dinka is able to survive.
Yeah, Haikyuu's up by himself now.
And Haikyuu Savage drops as well.
I mean, the more of the story for this game is a shot and a miss. They're making plays that
it's a shot and a miss, and it's Shorter being able to properly read where this Graves is going to be. They're tracking him perfectly. You knew he was coming top lane to assist on that Gangplank. That was why the Gnar was going so aggro there. You see him show up, and Shorter Ace is right there, ready to capitalize on that. The Gnar bar, very helpful in the fact that it did not pop right away. If he was able to stay Mega Gnar for much longer, it would have, or far sooner, that could have been a very different story, as he would have been able to survive long enough for Haikyuu Savage to be able to make it there and possibly trade back some kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're gonna have to see can Mirage sign another deal with the devil? Do they have more blood to give to the blood gods here to make something crazy happen, to get themselves back on their feet and make this game successful for them?
And
Because
sure
right
enough,
now,
you saw Pings out on that Krugs brush, and sure enough, here comes Shorter Ace, right in the same quadrant as Graves, just ready to completely capitalize on it.
oh, they're just gonna miss him too.
They'll just miss him, but now they know, okay, his bot side camps are down. We know where he's going. We know he's going to be top side.
And yeah, this could be it will be a free Infernal.
And as soon as you
Take
see
that
him,
by
yeah,
video.
you see him go top lane, you immediately know, all right, this Infernal Dragon's free. This is for us to take.
Now, one of the questions that we have to ask too at this point is, with Gnar being decently ahead, Gnar has priority. He's been getting lots of poke damage down. He's setting up these. He's building
He's
up these big
25
waves to
CS
work with.
ahead.
Is this going to be enough to upset the differential bot lane with Varus being so massive, getting the lethality early, and frankly,
I don't
bot lane-
believe so. You have a 3-0-2 Varus that's able to lock down any target. You know, you don't have the Olaf this time. You don't have that way of avoiding Varus ulti. If it hits you, you will sit there. There's a trade coming through in the mid lane.
We're nothing too. Bot lane still being a
A
huge
TP having to come in, and Odd Turtle just dying on this attempted tower dive. Gnar coming in.
Yeah,
Now,
and that's the overstaying.
but
Something we
this
saw
is
last
also what
game,
I'm
too.
mentioning, where you have that Gnar TP that, yeah, it comes through to dissuade the dive, but realistically what he's getting here is not really that much. Gangplank is able to equalize this farm differential now.
Oh.
Forces out the flash on a completely whiffed ultimate.
Oh, Lord. What do you say about something like that?
Feels bad.
I don't even... He completely whiffs the
He
ulti.
completely
the
whiffed, but
flash
gets
is
the flash.
unnecessary. Like, and he flashed before the ulti even really went in a direction. So, he's like predicting the Varus ultimate there.
He's
Which
predicting
he's
that
not
the
wrong,
Varus is
but-
going to predict where it's going.
What in the world was that?
That was
Alright.
something else. But you know, now it's like, look at it. Now you have the Gangplank that's able to free farm. You actually see an early swap coming out for the side of Mirage. No tower has dropped yet. And you see that Gangplank is recalling. They will have the priority to be able to see this swap coming and tell whether or not they want to. But it's actually this is actually a very smart play coming out from Mirage,
Yeah, this is spicy.
as this will be a first tower, certainly for Mirage.
Now, as we know, the outer turrets at this point still do have the extra shielding on the turrets. It's hard to break them down at this point in the game, but because they have the Herald, which does such a massive chunk of damage to these turrets,
is
they
first
get
tower.
the first tower, and they break something that normally would be a lot harder to grab. This is one of the ways that they can start to feed themselves gold and dictate the pace of this match and be confident the way they are now.
Now, while I agree with that, one thing that is worth saying as well is that it is much different getting a top lane tower with Rift Herald than it is
Absolutely.
getting a mid lane tower, being able to break open that map. You get a top lane tower, and by the looks of it, you were trying to lane swap anyway, so that's really, you know, you were going to have
big
the
ulti coming
priority
in.
in that regardless. And Dinka
A
holding
very
on to
slow
his
amount of
oranges.
damage coming through. But the
Oh,
dive
was
will
he,
not happen.
he was holding on to his oranges, he just didn't feel like popping them.
Ryzel coming
Very
through.
interesting roam coming through.
And Demi's caught out. That's going to be it.
And there it is. And that's one kill, traded back immediately for that Gangplank.
Yeah.
He's now
picked up
2-1
here.
and 2. He's back in the game. He's slowly coming back in farm. Still a definite advantage for the Gnar in this lane. And really, this is where you want to see the Gangplank come back in the game. Because once the Gnar finishes that Black Cleaver Frozen Mallet, it becomes near impossible. Great stopwatch by Gweiss.
Yeah, Gweiss gets out. They burn ultis for it. They might actually be able to defend his turret with the extra AoE coming
Collateral
through.
damage coming out as Glacial Fissure finds no one. LeBlanc jumping forward.
Oh, the chain misses.
Chain misses, forced to jump back as Short Race goes
Short Race
in
goes-
and is now on a rampage. Double kill coming through for him, as that is now 5 kills on the Nidalee.
And there's just so much damage coming from outside the turrets. Before they even dive, the Qs from both champions just
There's
take out
so much
500
poke
health
on the
chunks.
side of Vireo.
Now, a swing and a miss. It's the moral of both of these series, of this whole series so far, where great moves happen, big things come out, and these teams are generating value. As we just saw, the Herald goes top. They get a lot of value from that while they're behind. But now, more misses are
Oh,
coming
Dinka
through.
might be dead here. Oh, a flash coming
gonna
through
make
for
him work for it.
Graves. That was an interesting decision to go for the flash on that Graves. You are Graves. You need that flash to be able to really get onto those targets. So it's a little bit questionable that he's going to try to burn that just for the gangplank kill when you had the Gnar that had the hyper to be able to keep up with him. You could very easily dive the tower on that GP. You know he doesn't have ultimate.
Although, to be fair, after the barrel cracks, it can be difficult to get back that speed, especially because of the slow and a movement speed increase.
That is very true, but the problem is that you also have, you have a Graves that's coming through. Yeah, he's going to be a bit late to the dive, but you have Mega Gnar that's able to throw him into a wall, and even if he oranges that, you do have a follow-up stun. So there was definitely more than enough time for Graves to be able to get into that play, and instead decides to trade the flashes with the top laner.
Speaking of trade top lane,
Dink walks forward. A lot of damage coming through, and he's able to... Oh, nope, there's the Graves.
And Dinka just being a pressure sponge right now. He might actually get out here. The bomb...
No, there's no way.
Right before the bomb plant, he almost makes the grand escape there.
Just about the great escape, but... I was kind of wondering where it's like, you need to recognize that if you are going to play in this, is that if you are going to be in that situation where you don't see anyone mid lane, you don't see anyone bot lane aside from the Gnar, you have to assume that the bot lane is waiting there for you, and you can't just assume that you're completely safe, that, oh, I'm gangplank, I'm fine.
Yeah, absolutely. He has been the target. He has the target on his back.
Exactly. This is the gangplank. They want to take full advantage of him before he comes online, before he hits that late game where he's able to just use his barrels.
Especially because of the fact that the Varus is already 3-0-4. You cannot stop that.
You can't stop Varus. You cannot go anywhere into Nidalee's jungle right now, either. If Nidalee finds you, you die. Like, absolutely. You do not beat this Nidalee in a 1v1 duel. She will probably be able to kill 2 people before they kick her down. So then, as a Mountain Drake going through, these are some very lucky dragons coming through to the side of Vera. You get a Mountain first, and then you get an Infernal first, and now you're getting that Mountain Drake.
Yeah, especially if you're an aggressive sieging comp with that poke damage. Both these Drakes help them siege, help them poke. They miss out on a little bit of the sustain. You know, an Ocean Drake coming through could be a big thing too to help keep them from some of that LeBlanc poke, from some of the Gnar Qs.
But you notice that I don't really think that's necessarily needed, because the thing is that I think an Ocean Drake would be the worst here, because the problem is that a lot. Oh my damage! Yeah, so remember when I said that you can't go into Nidalee's jungle at all? The entire jungle is Nidalee's jungle.
Yeah, at this point in the game, she owns your jungle as well.
Yeah, she owns your jungle and her jungle, and you have no say in the matter.
Now, granted, look at the vision too. The vision across the board for Vera Green is really good. It's really, there's pink boards across the entire map, and Mirage has fallen behind in their control. And we can see it visibly on the map. They're just not keeping track of where anybody is. They're not rotating for these plays beforehand. They're not preemptively doing anything. They see something happens and they go, oh, now we're walking. Now we're moving towards it. And they're too late. They are far too late for an aggressive team like this, going huge and having this much damage.
Now, on the side of Mirage, what is interesting to note is that you do now have your ADCs, your double AD that is coming online. You've got the Stormrazor on both of your Graves and your Tristana. You have the attack speed boots on your Tristana and the Warrior on the Graves. You are getting your ADs that are slowly catching up to make an impact on these fights. But is it too little too late when you have a 604 Nidalee and a 304 Varus?
The way they're playing now? Absolutely. If they step up, they get their vision control, they take back together as a team some of these pink boards from their jungle and try to get their feet on the ground, they have the ability to make something huge happen. But without this groundwork, without this ground floor going forward, they cannot. It's impossible. There's no way they will ever catch Furia Pro off guard.
And the Glacial Fissure flashing away from the explosive cask. LeBlanc forcing to jump back and blows the ignite on the Nidalee.
Yeah,
does not get the kill.
And that's a good start. That's almost a capitalization to get the shutdown gold off that Nidalee and start getting the team some gold and their groundwork, as well as decision control. They're now finally getting in there and trying to deny these wards.
Tristana being forced to flash in that top lane, forcing the Buster Shot away, the Buster Shot the Rise away, and then having to flash away when he does catch up. You know, Focus probably could have continued on if it wasn't the threat of the rocket jump as well, if he had traded his own flash for that, but honestly, I agree. You're able to force the Tristana out of that lane. You know, a lot of what you're going to see in Amateur is you're going to see a lot of ADs that try to go for these solo lanes, that try to put themselves back into the game that way. So it's nice to see teams that are able to capitalize on that. They're able to send their really strong players to those lanes to not allow those ADCs to free farm back into this game.
And especially in a scenario where they hold all the cards, all the vision is theirs, every lane at this point is, or I suppose obviously this Gangplank lane is in a
Gangplank
position.
name's never going to be fun. This will
Yeah.
never be fun for Gangplank. Oh, the Gnar
Only misses
ulti
from
whips!
the Gnar. This gives Thinking the opportunity to get away, possibly even look for more trading damage to try and bait this Gnar to overstay here. And think it's going to walk away.
And that was a
just okay.
big miss from the Gnar. That possibly could have been another solo kill.
But he is going back into mini form. This gives him the opportunity to just play around these barrels, use the range advantage to stop him from ever getting value. And Diggins gonna have to go huge here. The ulti comes through.
No, there's
He's
no
playing
way.
around the slow.
Oh, ooh.
On the other side,
A
shorter
lot
range.
of
He
damage
has no
on the
stop.
shorter
Zhong is
ace.
still down. It's not enough to pressure him out.
And Demigod was forced to disengage from that fight
He
in
did
the
not
bot
make
lane.
the kill.
He had to back off. He knew, all right, this Gangplank, he's now had a point where I'm not able to really force him off anymore because I can't risk a barrel coming through and smacking me in the face.
Especially with the missed ultimates that did happen in that fight.
And collateral damage just coming through to clear the wave. Now this is the same thing where you're seeing from last game where it's like you have these really big tools that are being forced to use defensively. You have the Gnar, which is a great lane working out for you. That's your positive. You have the Buster Shot that would be a great tool for getting the Nidalee off you. Instead of being forced to use in the solo lane when the Rai is by itself, you have the Graves that has to use collateral damage for clearing a wave, which not so bad. He has a lot of CDR. He's able to get through with that. But that's what you're seeing a lot of. You're seeing a lot of these ultis being used defensively on the side of Mirage.
Yeah, and Mirage just needing to get their footing here, needing to get, and some of the smaller things they're forgetting is using these sweepers in scenarios where they're dropping flank wards. So now all the sweepers have been used on this top side of the jungle, and the entire bot side is red. As we said, Nidalee controls their jungle. We're looking at it visibly, and Mirage isn't doing some of the obvious small things that they need to get them out, to start pushing them back and saying, look, we have a say in this match. We are also participating. We're playing the game.
We
But
are
right
here.
now they're not. They are just spectators in this match. So they need to just do the base groundwork and play the game.
And the thing is that they're starting to come online in their item builds. You got the Zeal, Zeal and the Stormrazor. I was saying Bloodrazor. On the Tristana, you're getting this LeBlanc that has now finished the Luden's Echo and the Sork boots. You have these tools that are able to get you back into this game. It comes down once again to will they pull the trigger? And before, that's what they were doing. They were pulling the trigger expertly. They were perfectly ready to get back into this game. Will they do it again? Right now, it's looking like yes. As they come in, Odd Turtle gets deleted.
And a fantastic flank from the Nard too, picking up the bars as well.
Oh.
Oh my god, did he die? Holy moly, the Nidalee is
And
doing
again,
so
the
much
Buster
damage.
Shot. This is what I'm saying it should be used for, is it needs to be used as Demigod trades his life. Shorter is godlike, but is he too deep now?
The answer
And
is
it
going
looks
to be
like
yes,
he
Shorter
will
Range.
drop by almost
not
killing the
without-
Graves.
Not without taking a huge
Focus, is he able to pop off here? Gets a kill on the Graves, but that looks like there's too much distance now. That is all they're going to be able to achieve. It is right now looking like a 2 for 2, which honestly, great for Vireo Green. Now we're going to see if they can get more. Or great for Mirage, not great for Vireo Green.
And yeah, that kill streak going over to, actually I can't even see the number, it's all on the way. But that goal going out to the enemy team, oh my lord. Hikey Savage. What up?
850
All right,
gold
850
is the
gold
payout.
going into the back to the pockets of Mirage. That's the shutdown they needed. All that extra experience and the gold fiddling back in, and they lose the Grace here for overstaying. They know once again they have no control of this bot side jungle, and they look for camps. They get picked on the back foot here, and this is going to give Vireo Green the ability to go for this Baron here and set up with no risk involved. The jungler is down.
Exactly, the jungler's dead. He's down for another 15 seconds, and you do have a comp that is able to burn Barons quite quickly. Not only that, but you also have that Infernal and Mountain Drake that was mentioned before. As they do start up this dragon, and Nidalee is just going to be able to absolutely eviscerate this thing with the Varus. Chains of Corruption coming onto the Brum.
But Mirage is not giving this up. They're going to
Mirage
force
is
them
not
away
giving this
from
up.
the Baron
Actually
and
pulls
buy-
them off of Baron. As Hikey Savage looks for a flank, does not find one as he sees Shorter Ace and immediately gets out of dodge.
This is actually huge though. 7,000 gold ahead on the side of Vireo Green, and they couldn't
they get
make the
pulled
Baron
off of
happen.
Baron.
They couldn't pull it. That's actually a huge
I think a lot of
deal.
it was the Chains of Corruption only hitting that one person, and it's the Braum who's able to get away.
He has that spell book. He popped barrier immediately and was able to get out. So when you don't have that target where you can immediately burn with Chains of Corruption, you can't further commit onto these fights.
Absolutely, and we're going to see here, this is the footwork, this is the ground floor. This is Mirage getting their footing and finally getting to say, we are playing the match. We are a part of this.
You can't take everything you want. We can have a say in this.
And this is huge. This is exactly the footing they needed to get back into this game. And we'll see if they can keep it up. We'll see if they can stay confident and look for these bigger plays to make the game theirs.
Absolutely. And you see the Zhonya's Hourglass finally finished for that Nidalee. You have the, what looks like it might be a Banshees build?
I guess so,
Codex
yeah.
and Null Magic?
What's he building? Yeah, probably a Banshees.
Probably a Banshees.
Which
would make sense for the LeBlanc and the Tristana. If you
Yeah.
jump in and she tries to Buster Shot you and you can just immediately just say, no, I'm not going anywhere. That's a dead Tristana. That is a dead Yordle.
Absolutely. And one thing to note too is that on the topic of Lucky Dragons, another Infernal being picked up by Vireo Green. They're getting less but aggressive comp on these Dragon picks. They're not getting stuck with Air Dragons. They're getting things that are tangible and usable for them in these sieges and in these plays.
And these Infernal Dragons allowing them to take these Barons faster as Shorter Ace just gets picked off.
Absolutely eliminated. He's alive.
Dinka trying to trade back actually kills Nove. As Shorter is trying to juke for his life, but High Key Savage finishes it off. Will this teleport be completed by the Braum? Looks like yes, as he does come through with the Glacial Fissure. Mega Gnar hitting massively, but look at the Chains of Corruption. Who's hitting Varus? Varus walking forward, going for High Key Savage, turning around.
Makes it.
Tristana trading back. Varus forcing to flash away, but the Braum stun holding him in place. Double kill coming out.
And the 1v1 of a lifetime, Braum versus Gragas, the Slapfest.
Battle of the Supportal Combat as they decide to cease fire and back off.
Absolutely huge, and this is the fight they're looking
Overall,
for.
that's a 2 for 3 in the 2 for 3 in the favor of Mirage.
Well, 3 for 2.
Or 3 for 2 in favor of Mirage, yeah.
Which is insane. I mean, this is what they were looking for. They are signing the deal with the devil.
And this is a 5k gold deficit that they are taking these advantageous fights. Shorter Ace had no reason to face check that bush. He has these long range spears. If he really thinks that there's a chance they're in there, just throw a spear in there, just be safe.
Yeah, and what it comes down to is that Vireo Green has stopped having the control. Their vision has started to crumble. They're not taking the steps they need to make themselves the decider in this match. They are starting to crumble behind the weight of the enemy team, and unless they get their stuff together, it'll never happen. Sorry for technical difficulties. Yeah, 10 kills to 17 this match. 5k gold still in the favor of Vireo Green here.
But I mean, here's the other thing is that, remember how I mentioned that the later this game goes, the better it gets. If you have a lead in this mid game before you get the Gangplank, before you get the rise on that full build, you know, this is when, you know, if I'm Mirage, I want to start taking control right now. I need to end this game. I want to finish this before Varus gets full build. He gets his Maw. He's unkillable by that LeBlanc. He's not able to be one comboed before the Rides is able to absolutely decimate whatever target he wants.
And it is worth noting too that Tristana is slowly getting online. The Infinity Edge is almost completed, and Varus is still sticking with that lethality build. He will hurt, and the poke will be very strong, but when these 5v5s break out, they're lacking the traditional ADC. Trist will start to run through some of the members of Vireo Green. They
because you don't have that frontline aside from Gragas.
I guess Gragas did go.
He did go frontline.
Weird. All right.
You expected full AP?
Yeah, you're going support. You're going with a full aggressive build.
You're going support, full AP, Luden's
I hadn't
Echo.
even looked. I was assuming he was going for like the one-shot Lichbane build, pulling out some Panunu. But
how dare he build competently?
But going tank here, it gives them some variety, especially because the Gangplank is doing a defensive build.
It gives them the ability to essentially say that Tristana cannot just jump into the team and have it be acceptable. She's going to have to deal with this frontline Gragas.
Dinka looking for the fight.
But here comes High Key Savage. This is now suddenly an unfair fight as he gets thrown back in. This will be the kill. Going over to High Key Savage. Killing spree for the LeBlanc.
Also, I think it is worth noting too that I think I've watched 4 LeBlanc chains land this game. There's definitely something to be said that maybe High Key isn't as comfortable in this champion as it seems to be.
Good Chains of Corruption. Open your eyes next time.
Yeah. Oh boy. No flame, no flame, no flame. But the 5K gold still in the favor of Vireo Green. They
But it
gotta
doesn't
pick there,
feel
and
like it. That's
no,
the
it
thing,
does
is it does not feel like this is a Vireo Green one-sided game. This feels like Mirage is fully holding their own. They're able to take this bot lane tower. This will be more gold put back into their pocket. The bush camp does not work, so you've wasted the time there.
And it is worth noting too that looking at the experience, they may have the lead in mid lane, but the AD carries are 2 levels down. The support is a full level down. That 5K gold at this point, 4K, is not as hefty as it seems because of these base stats being thrown in the mix. It probably comes down to something more like a 2K gold lead at this point.
And you see the adaptive helm actually being finished on the Gnar. He is looking more for these team fights. He is not looking for this split. Sure, he has his Jarm's Fist to be able to build the Frozen Gauntlet soon, but he went for this adaptive helm. He recognizes the threat that Ryze and Varus are going to hold
and the
in this
adaptive
fight.
is interesting because it doesn't affect as much as it seems. The adaptive really only affects the Ryze here. Nidalee, when she's running
Kind
a
of
full,
affects
when she
Nidalee.
runs through a full rotation, she's using 5 different abilities. It's not just, you know, the Q's
one.
always landing. There is variety to her kit here. And
I think a lot of it was for you wanted the Spectre's Cowl for the HP and the MR, and Spirit Visage just doesn't make sense on the Gnar,
absolutely,
so
yeah.
you want to go the adaptive helm. It does make sense from a standpoint, but I agree that it's not
full
exactly
value.
fully optimal. As now a second Mountain Drake is going to be secured, likely by Vireo Green. There might be some contest, but no, it looks like they're just resetting on the side of Mirage. You say, you know what, we'll let you have that dragon. We'll take the picks. That's how we're going to look to come back into this game. But right now, we're not strong enough to 5v5. As Mirage actually trying to start this Baron here.
They know
Kings
they have full
immediately coming out on the side of Vireo Green. They don't want them to do this. The Ryze does have TP. On the flank, immediately deleted.
The Blanca race, the Baron secured.
The Baron is secured by Mirage. But will they be able to make it out alive? That is 4 members dead, with the Gnar scrambling to be the only member alive, as there will be
pushing.
There will be a Baron secure, but only on 1 member. But that is, honestly, that is the member you want it on. You want it on this Gnar that is in that favorable lane against the Gangplank.
Yeah,
You want it on that
some wiggle room
champion.
to actually start pressuring the Gangplank.
If he can back, yeah, he's building that Frozen Mallet. Once he gets that, if Baron is still online, he's going to be a massive split push threat here. But what will it cost? You see at least an inhibitor coming out. And I think it's just going to be an inhibitor with Vireo backing off right afterwards and resetting. Please don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mirage, getting that Baron, looking at the numbers again, we're now 7K gold in the deficit. We were 5, almost close to 4 at that point.
With the
and
Baron, not on
Baron
the side
put
you
them
think it'd be on.
behind. Yeah, the value may have gone to Mirage, but
The Baron
Vireo
itself
are the ones
went
going to the bank here. They
Yeah.
are checking the cash.
Yeah, like Mirage was the side that got the Baron, but you only have it on the 1 member. Sure, he's the best split pusher you have on your team, so it's the favored one to have it on. But it comes down to, do you want to use it? Because clearly if you look at the item builds for Mirage, you don't want that 4-1. You want that team fight. You want that 5-man around the objectives, and that sort of thing. But that's not what you're looking at if you look at how they should be playing. So it comes down to, is that what they're going to look at doing, or are they going to look to stay to group?
Absolutely. And I don't know if he actually mentioned, once again, luck of the gods, another Earth Drake on the side of Vireo Green. They are paying off the refs here apparently, because
Absolutely.
they're getting every dragon that they need for this event to go proper. Oh, and the Grom Steel, big action here in the top side
The
of the
Grom
map.
Steel.
But no, back to a serious note though, we are starting to see Vireo Green actually step forward, get the proper vision control,
They're
and do
finally
what they were
getting
doing
their
earlier in
vision.
this game. But consistency, we've said it before, this is what's needed in this set. It's going to be a long, oh my lord, and Shorter Race taking a moderate chunk here, not respecting the LeBlanc damage. She's strong. She has gold in her pocket at this point and has been one of
And another trade, Ignite being blown actually on the side of Heike Savage. But in the bot lane, he's pushing against Baron and he's taking towers. You don't normally see that, but it's a 4-0-7 Ryze, so I think he just gets to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, and his hat is completed too, so he's a strong lad.
Yeah,
big
he's
boy in
a
that
strong
bot
boy.
lane.
10 stack Dark Seal, Rabadon's Death Cap, and Seraph's Embrace. You know, what's weird though is if I'm the Gnar, this Adaptive Helm, this is the only member I've built
Yeah,
it for.
yeah, and he
and
still
I'm letting him
cannot
take
stand
what he
up there.
wants.
The top turret finally going to get knocked down by the side of Vireo Green, and the poke damage
The
is
team
still
that
just
doesn't
so
have
crippling.
Baron
That was just the Varus Q on the Tristana, and almost half the HP pool just
But-
completely vanished.
Good you mentioned the Tristana, because now she's got her 3 items and she has that QSS. She is fully able to have a big say in these team fights.
Yeah, if her team can actually stand in front and tank some of these Varus arrows the way they're supposed to with the Braum shield, which is not happening, she will be able to go huge here. They can look for the proper fights, but they need to stay calm
And it
stay
was a
together.
Banshee's
And
Veil.
another arrow going straight to Tristana. Braum seemingly non-existent right now. I mean,
Unable to block these. I almost feel like he'd be taking similar damage. Now,
without the shield, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he is not. I mean, it looks like the items too. He has only has the,
Knight's Vow. He's got a Knight's Vow, and now he has Aegis of the Legion.
I'm gonna make a joke about the Zeke's Harbinger
Oh my
before,
God.
but we'll skip past that for now.
Now, here's what's interesting though. You're going to be getting, if I'm correct on that GP build, unless he is going Infinity Edge and he's going Crypt Plank, which I don't think so. You don't build Yumus. I think that's going to be double GA on the side of Vireo Green.
Yeah, if you're following through on the safe build, the GA is most likely the most.
Yeah,
reasonable
I'm not
option here.
expecting it to be Infinity Edge. It could be, but you know there is a chance that it is going to be that.
The Storm Razor would be more likely in this aspect because
Storm Razor could work.
But
I don't
he's-
think.
he's-
I think it applies with your passive though, so I don't think you would want to get Storm Razor on Gangplank. I could be completely wrong. I'm not a
I haven't
Gangplank
touched
main.
Gangplank, yeah,
admittedly.
it's probably been
I
like
think
at least
it's a
8
safe
months since I've
GA.
played a
I'm
single
hoping it's
GP
a
game.
safe GA because it makes LeBlanc's job a lot harder. You have the Varus who's coming online. He's got this GA now too. Same thing with Gangplank. 2 of these targets you really want to assassinate are gonna have GA, and then you're like, okay, I'll go for Nidalee. Well, she has Zonia's. All right, cool. I'll go for Ryze. No one goes for Ryze. He has Seraph's Embrace. So this LeBlanc's job just gets so difficult to be to be able to really have a say in this. And I know you're looking up to see if Storm Razor's a
I'm
thing.
very much looking at pro builds right now because I'm actually fairly curious. I have no clue at all.
But exactly, you see what just happened there? That is what's going to happen every single time LeBlanc goes for a target.
Yep,
You go
hacking
for
down
Nidalee,
is
she's gonna
completely
one-shot
removed.
you as soon as you dare to go anywhere near her. You go for Ryze, same thing. Now if you go for Varus or Gangplank, you can't kill them, they have GA.
Yeah, and a 10k gold depth deficit here means that Vireo Green gets to just decide that this is their base now. They took over the jungle, they decided that
Now-
that was their kitchen, and now the base is theirs. This is, in fact, their kitchen.
Now, Glacial Fissure coming out. You do see Shorter Ace diving in. Killing spree coming through for Dinka as another arrow hits Tristana. Ryze just doing
And that's
work
game.
in the
That's
bat line,
actually
and that's
just
an
it.
ace. That's got to be the game. Now, on the side of Vireo Green, there were some worrying steps. You had this 5k gold lead, but it seemed like they didn't know what to do with it. They were wandering around. They didn't really have a good grip on this game.
And they stopped being confident.
They
did
stopped
not
being
be
confident. They stopped moving their vision lineup, so they were afraid to go into the jungle, which if you have a 7-0 Nidalee, is not what you should be. You should never be afraid to go into the jungle. But for now, I gotta head out to go talk with the team. I will be back, and we'll be back getting ready for Game 3 as a tied series,
Yeah,
1-1 for each, both Vireo Green and Mirage.
Also, while we have a second, Vireo Green likes to have a shout out to Carter's dad, because I was told to. I was paid by backstage, so.
Oh, you paid? Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
turn. Fine.
he left.
He's walking around.
You gonna commentate?
Maybe just a little bit. Yo, how do you feel about the Rumble Minute to Akali matchup?
I've never seen it,
never
so it's new.
You're gonna see it today.
Apparently.
It's like, actually, I don't know what I'm allowed to say and not say on stream.
Oh
No
my god.
cursing.
Don't curse on stream.
No curse
Good
on
Christian stream.
Good Christian stream? Okay.
Good Christian stream.
Let's not talk about my experiences when I turned 16.
Oh my god. It's one time at band camp.
But yeah,
Yes, this is gonna be airplane mode. Is it best of 5? Yes, it is.
dude, all I know is that to reach the finals, you have to win best of threes, right? So right now, series is 1-1. Basically a best of 3, undefeated, free low. That's all I gotta say. But in all honesty, this game is gonna be completely dependent on no finish the race. Whoever's able to get ahead over the other just is going to 1-5 carry the game. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny because both team comps, like Rio Green is running a bit of a 4-1, they can 1-3-1 as well. But Mirage is basically running a similar style composition to what Rio Green was running last time. It's just one of those, if I main this style, if I main this champion, then I'm gonna do the counters. And if Rio Green can pull it off, then that shit's free, bro.
I mean, Very Green has run this matchup before in the jungle where they have taken the Lee Sin, and it is Shorter's most comfortable matchup into Nidalee is the Lee Sin. So it should be interesting to see if he actually manages to come out on top in this jungle matchup, because like you said, it will likely decide the game, as it seems like a lot of the early pressure seems to go a lot towards the a lot of the early pressure seems to go a lot in favor of Vera Green, but then you see Mirage seem to take back control through these small skirmishes and through these outnumbered fights, being able to find the picks necessary to get back into the game. You know, they were managing to win fights off of a 5k gold deficit last game, simply off of the amount of pressure that you can find in these odd-numbered fights with the picks they're taking. I think Nidalee will be a great addition to that, but that will come down to whether or not Lee Sin can shut her down, because if Lee Sin can shut down Nidalee, it makes her job that much harder to be able to make any impact in a fight versus Ashe Gragas and a Lee Sin that's not going to let her into the backline.
It's very interesting. Oh, no, it's just very interesting because, like you said, it's the Nidalee versus Lee Sin game, the Lee versus Lee, but we have mid lane priority in the form of Rumble versus Akali, but then top lane priority in the form of Jason to GB. It just looks like whichever side lane is smashing harder than the other one is going to be able to take control of the top side map, and then at that point, it's just constant invades, looking to put each other down. Varus, Soraka versus Ashe Gragas, I'm pretty certain that's going next at level 6.
Yeah, no, at level 6, that's absolutely Ashe Gragas favored. Especially if you have the Lee Sin being able to roam bot lane for that level 6, you can essentially just farm the Soraka or the Varus, whichever target you want to take, and you will get a minimum of summoner each time you go for one of those plays.
What kind of early jungle pathing are you looking to see from either of the junglers here? How about you do Nid and I'll do Lee?
Yeah. From Nidalee, I'm expecting a standard clear. I want to see a lot of the jungling top to bot side, as you know that your bot lane is going to be the volatile lane. It will be the lane that you need to keep an eye on, as that will be what Lee Sin wants to take advantage of. So I'm expecting a standard clear top to bot.
I'm very interested here if they actually try cross mapping. They just split the map, Lee Sin playing for bot and then Nidalee playing for top, because if you really look at it, Nidalee wants to get this Jace ahead. If Jace doesn't get ahead, then they really lose a lot of their win condition.
I feel like Jace should be able to get ahead naturally. I think it will come down to both junglers being able to use some pressure on the bot side, because I think that will actually be massive, just because of the amount engaged. And you see that Jace is able to just normally take advantage because of the lack of GP's early game. You don't really need jungle interference. So I think splitting the map vertically, whoever gets that bot side split, which should be Short Race, as he does have favorable matchup in that 1v1, it should be favored towards that. I think it should be much favored towards the side that can split the map towards bot side.
Let's say that we're the coaches of either of these teams. What do you think you would say to them pre-game? What is their early win condition? What are they looking to do in the mid game?
If I'm looking in the side of Mirage, a lot of this is going to...
No, do green.
Do green? Okay. If I'm looking at the side of Vireo Green, a lot of this is going to be wait until mid-game. I want to use Lee Sin pressure to make sure that Nidalee doesn't get ahead. I want to get that mid-game spike to allow GP to have the time to get his late-game items, and I want to use the mid-game pick potential of Ashe Gragas along with Lee Sin and that equalizer damage to be able to take those mid-game objectives and transitioning into late-game objectives with the gangplank.
Before I actually talk about Mirage's draft, it looks like Sugar Race did indeed choose to try to split the map and cross map, and he's looking for this bottom lane
And
gank
he is
right
looking
here.
for bottom
Right
lane.
as soon as
That is
he
a
gets the
barrier
body
and a
slam.
flash immediately, along with the heal, but it will not be enough as Weiss does fall to first blood. Supportal combat, Odd Turtle coming out ahead.
Oh man, I am certain that Video Green's coach would be very happy. Spicy.
And you do see a flash forward. Demigod has no mana. He is unable to knock away Dinka as he basically runs forward. He does get the cannon for movement speed, and it looks like it is going to be a flash for nothing.
All I gotta say is that from these first 3 minutes, it's looking really, really terrible for Mirage here. Jace isn't winning the 1v1 matchup. Nidalee decided not to cross map. All she's headed is in farm. Actually, not even. She's down 2 CS. What's going on? If I was Mirage's close,
I mean,
I wouldn't say anything because
the thing
I'm
is
not
that she is far more than just 2 CS down. She is far more because the fact that Lee Sin has not taken his top side yet, so that's going to be far more CS down. The only reason he's ahead in CS is because he took her her bot side, which is far more worthwhile if I'm the Lee Sin there. That to me is a massive win.
If you were Mirage right now, what would you be thinking to yourself? What's the next play?
The next play is exactly what's happening now. You go for Dinka. He is the weak lane. He does walk forward strangely. And again, you split the map. You go immediately vertically. If I'm Shorter Ace, I want immediately right onto this. Another kill. Get this Soraka behind. Do not allow her to be able to get the sustain in the lane that you need. And the more behind this bot lane gets, the more volatile it becomes at level 6.
This is definitely starting to look like a battle between the two titans in the form of Nove and Shorter Ace. Oh my god, look at this fucking fight.
That's the immediate kill onto Demigod. Shorter Ace now coming in 2-0-1 as he forces out the Nidalee flash.
I like this. This is spicy.
Shorter Ace this entire series has shown just clear early game dominance in the jungle. Does it not matter if he gets the Nidalee or if he gets put it onto Kindred. He's played a different champion each one of these games in this series.
Honestly, an MVP performance.
He is definitely an MVP performance, especially for this early game.
Honestly, I think it might be the Tainted Minds relegation buff. You see his Twitter, he wants a pizza party.
He needs that Tainted Minds relegation
He's
pizza
gonna
party.
use the DreamHack money for the pizza party.
He's not actually doing that though, right?
I'm not sure if he's actually doing it.
Oh my god, he might
I've
actually
definitely
do
better
it.
be invited for this. I'm kind of getting hungry after
I don't even know where he lives, but you know.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Okay.
I mean, so this Rumble mid into a Kali matchup, it's going better than I was expecting, not gonna lie. Like, this seems like it would be an interesting matchup because you're able to shove in the Akali constantly because she cannot walk forward for fear of Flame Spitter. She has to farm under tower, which is not great for Akali because you want to be able to use your Q, and the problem is it will hit multiple minions. And it forces that sometimes you get those really awkward situations where you'll hit a minion with Q, but it'll take another minion low enough that you can't kill it, but tower will kill it.
Oh my god, Akali is
She
just
dives
going.
in. Now that there's the overheat, he cannot use abilities. But Shorter Ace once again just right there. Equalizer, but it will not be enough as Demigod does get the kill, and that is a 1-for-0 in favor of Mirage.
That was incredibly well done. They realized that their bot lane's falling ahead. They needed to transfer the top lane lead to somewhere else, and they decided to transfer mid. What is Vireo Green going to do to come back?
I think if I'm Vireo Green, right now what I look for is I keep this Lee Sin ahead. I keep him up the pressure. Do not allow this Nidalee any room to breathe in her own jungle. And then if I'm the bot lane, yeah, I do exactly what's happening now. You walk forward, you just go for these plays. You know you have more damage. And that you can just do this over and over again. And he gets the heal from the passive, and this will be a double kill. He baits out the autos.
This definitely looks like a bot lane kingdom going on right now. This is really, really fucking good for Vireo Green. They needed their bot lane to pop champ. They're pop champing. Now Shorter Ace has the ability to camp mid and try to translate that lead otherwhere.
If I'm Shorter Ace, I'm not looking at camping mid. I'm looking at shadowing top lane. I don't need to make any effective plays on this gangplank. I don't need to go for any ganks necessarily unless it presents itself. I want to be there. I want to make sure that Jace understands he can't step too far up in this lane. He can't try to be super aggressive on this gangplank. Otherwise, you're going to have a 2-0 Lee Sin in your lane who has already completed his warrior enchant.
What do you think here? Both teams are reaching some pretty good power spikes item build-wise and level-wise. We have the Infernal Drake up. The TPs are coming up soon. Are you going to see a 5v5 at Infernal?
I'm expecting there to be a 4v4 at Infernal. I'm expecting, if I'm Vireo Green right now, you should be pulling the trigger on this dragon because Both top laners don't have TP, but you have that cross map of the Gangplank ulti, and you have the lead right now in the early game. You want this 4v4. You want that the Jace that is doing the best on the team to not be in that fight. And this is why I would go right now for this Infernal Drake, and it looks like that's what they're doing.
Perfect, perfect. Looking at the alternative option for Mirage, what they needed to do was be able to stall out the Infernal until Herald was up, and at that point they can go for the objective.
Yeah, you look for the trade, or you stall out until that teleport is available, because the only way you're ever able to contest that Infernal Dragon, and here comes the 1v1. And the flash coming through, will he be able to dodge? And it looks like yes, the orange coming through. Slightly misplay on the R, but able to disengage the fight. So,
not done yet, not done yet. EQ.
Not done yet, the EQ does land. Odd Turtle being taken by Novi.
It's called Novi? Yes, no.
Or is it no? I don't know, there's an accent on the E.
Oh, it looks like we have a Kali top lane. What is going on? A fight down bot lane as well. Lee Sin's just destroying him.
Lee Sin just absolutely destroy as Akali does get the kill top lane. Meanwhile, plays just being done all across the map. The Soraka being able to regen with the Nidalee heal.
Oh my god, he's going in.
And,
shorter
so that was something.
Shorter in.
The Rumble coming through. This will be a trade back kill onto the Nidalee. I'm not sure what was going on there, because you're the 3-1, well 3-0 now, Lee Sin. You have that shutdown gold. Honestly, it's not needed to go for that play, to try to get that amazing play.
This looks like a very, very good game so far.
As first tower, meanwhile, falls on the side of Mirage to actually tie up the gold. Exactly tied up.
I think this is quite interesting that they're choosing not to swap their bottom lane top. If they do strong side, top side, they can start looking to make plays with this Herald, look for a pick. You have Rumble. Just leave Jace in the solo lane. He can chill at the tier 2 bottom.
I agree.
I'm going to say Jace might Gangplank.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think right now they're just trying to match waves, which I do not agree with at all. I feel like at this point, if you have that Lee Sin that has the advantage, you want to get this Rumble mid out of lane so he can help out your Gangplank. You want to get him out of this. You want to be able to take Herald and be able to rotate accordingly. And if you have a bot lane that is this far ahead and able to do this much in plays.
Honestly, do you... Wait, I just had a complete brain fart. I'm just watching this fight. Holy shit, they're going in. Can this be turned? If they turn this, this is crazy good for them. Oh my god.
Beautiful kick from Shorter Ace.
Shorter Ace is a E-Gladiator right now. Holy.
Question about Gangplank now. You're going, I see that he went grabs instead of Klepto.
Yes.
I know that's the new meta now, correct? Or Ace is still 50-50 roughly.
It's new meta in the sense that, especially in this matchup, because the thing is that the downside of Klepto is it gives you a weak lane because you don't get any combat effectiveness from it. So when you want to take it into a losing matchup like the Jace, you want to take something that is able to give you that health back, give you that regen. Because Klepto, you take Klepto at the sacrifice of not being able to have a strong enough lane. Not just from the different keystones, but also from the fact that now you have to take Inspiration primary.
Losing it on the base stats, of course.
Exactly. So
Base stats is where
base
the main disadvantage of it. Okay.
Right
so
now,
when you're against a Jace, you want to take Grasp, you want to be able to take that more defensive style. Being able to take Font of Life, so when he pokes you out, you can regen a lot of that HP.
looks like this is
And the thing is,
skirmish.
Perfect. And then a High Key Savage. The Rift Herald does go over, though, to the side of Mirage.
Ash Arrow.
Ash Arrow does connect. Now, is there enough follow-up damage, though? No, being slowed by the GP ulti, having to regen, does connect the spear, and it looks like he does get out for free. So overall, 1 kill for a Rift Herald. I would definitely say that is in Mirage's favor. You're able to use that in the mid lane likely. They might use it top, or they might use it, sorry, bot lane, but I definitely feel like the better play here is to use it mid lane, try to catch him on the swap, as the bot lane seems like it's going to go down regardless.
Who do you think outscales?
In the outscaling game, the only reason I'm not certain is because I don't know how well the Rumble mid will scale. Because I think the Rumble mid will be the deciding factor on who scales better. Because Ashe Varus, fairly similar. Varus is going to do a lot more damage, but he only really does a lot of damage to frontline. You only have a 1 tank comp. So they're sort of equal in that regard. Nidalee Lee Sin, same thing. They're going to both fall off. They both spike now and into mid game. They do really well right now. So same thing there. Soraka Gragas. Gragas, I would say scales better, but Soraka does have a lot of perfect trade, and that's going to be a wonderful another kill onto Shorter Ace. But across the map, you do get the return.
Oh my god.
Dodges out from the Nidalee Spear and manages to survive. However, this will likely cost them the bot lane tower on the rotation. So I would say that the deciding factor on whether or not, because Gangplank will scale much harder than Jace, but the deciding factor on who scales better will come down to whether or not Rumble mid can outscale Akali mid.
The way the matchup on the works is the moment Akali is able to pick up her gun play, it just becomes very, very difficult. You want to use the Rumble to be able to get the early priority and start affecting side lanes, and they were able to do it to a point, but I'm not sure if it was enough. Honestly, this is looking to turn out to be a very interesting series. Both teams are able to play different styles, very flexible, and not only that, they're able to play each other's styles, almost as if this could be a mirror matchup.
This is a very similar style. What Mirage is running is a very similar style to what Vireo was running last game. Just a lot of comfort and a lot of being able to play the map and play the early lanes.
How do you feel about this Urgot ban that I'm seeing every game?
The Urgot? Oh, that I completely agree with. It's one of Demigod's best. I would definitely agree with taking him off it because a lot of what Dinka plays, Urgot plays well into. So being able to take him off of that pick and make sure that he's not able to influence the top lane that much is a very good thing. Focus, meanwhile, getting focused out, but Odd Turtle able to respond in kind.
Did Akali just use her ultimate?
No. Now she did.
No, that's the second part of her ultimate. She used the first part already. Looks like we have a huge team fight coming in. Lee Sin going in.
Lee Sin managing to kill Nove. TP's coming in from both teams.
This is spicy.
Now here's the thing, GP will do far more in this team fight than Jace. I don't understand why Jace would complete the teleport here. I mean, I get you want
I think his team's crying. They're going, wah!
I get you want the trade. You want the trade of TPs because you want to be able to affect it with your team.
Oh,
but you're gonna look at stuff like that. Shorter Ace with an amazing play on that Lee Sin.
What do you do as Mirage? Do you double ban Shorter as Nidalee and
No. I think if I'm Mirage,
wait, don't leak strats. I take that back, don't leak strats.
Yeah. Now, another Baron taken. Rift Herald never being able to be used advantageously, having to be popped all the way back at inner tower. So it is very telegraphed and in time for Vireo to be able to read. They might not even get one tower off of this Herald.
At least they're able to go into their win condition of being able to. So it's just a little bit weird that Akali is in the mid lane, not on the side lane, but Jace is able to contribute.
It's because they're trying to affect the Rift Herald play to try to see if they could get something. Turns out they cannot.
Unfortunate.
It was just that Vireo Green held Mirage appropriately to be able to make sure that they are not able to have a situation to pop that Rift Herald. And so it has to be used right as it's about to time out, which is at the inner mid lane. Interesting. I think Dinka thought that jump was going right at him. You mean while to hit a minion?
I think right now that Dinka is definitely soaking up a great deal of pressure.
Dinka is soaking up a ton of pressure.
They're doing better than the cross mouth play on, you know what? I can't speak English right now. I'm just too busy watching
Equalizer
this
coming
fight.
in. Demigod without likely a prayer unless he does manage to get away from the shock.
Trying to go in on that. Let's see. Trying to figure out which fights we want to see. We want to see bot lane, top lane, see what's going to happen. Lee's trying to go in on Akali.
Now this is going to be an amazing kill for Shorter Ace. I like the idea though. I like the idea of sending the Akali to match the Ashe because the thing is once again you don't want to give AD carries the ability to go into a side wave for free and take all the farm that you want. You want to send the champion that can affect that side wave matchup, which would be the Akali. Unfortunately, there was no pressure across the map done by Mirage, so you were unable to play past River, which is unfortunately what Akali did, allowing the Lee Sin to wrap around appropriately. Now, if you're Mirage, how would you look to get back into this game? You're not down by too much, but you are losing the pressure around the map. You know, your pressure on the map is slipping. How would you come back if you were Mirage?
My eyes, Akali is a little bit too far behind with the way the new meta is with her. She's a little bit too far behind to catch up. Like you were saying, she has to be roaming. But Rumble is keeping her in the lane by himself. Oh, Nidalee now coming up trying to get in, but to be able to ult back in. Let's see if she be able to actually get the Nidalee. If you be able to kill the Nidalee.
A lot of damage, forcing out the Nidalee flash and the Soraka ulti.
Honestly,
regardless, a very good kill for Mirage as one gets immediately traded back. Shorter Ace on a rampage, 7-1 on this Lee Sin. Seems like a repeat of game 2 where Shorter Ace is just able to do whatever it is that he wants to do on this champion in this jungle matchup. Now, if you're Mirage, at this point, you gotta start feeling like Shorter. You gotta try to take him off of these pressure junglers. You gotta try to be able to force him. As we do get a pick onto Dinka, unable to move. Perfect silence. It was a perfect silence. Soraka not allowing Dinka to be able to use the W to get free of those chains of corruption. As a 1-for-0 trading onto the gangplank.
I just started to notice Ashe now has a Grievous Wound item now, so Soraka's not even going to be able to do too much as well as he wanted to.
That's very true. The Executioner's calling coming out on the Ashe. Also interesting to note, the Blade of the Ruined King on Ashe. Now I know Stormrazor is not typically the build, but you also want to be able to... I'm not certain if Blade of the Ruined King is the build, as there isn't a lot of HP on the side of Mirage. So maybe he's just building it for the lifesteal and for the active, for the kite, but
lifesteal and the attack,
seems interesting regardless. Shorter Ace having to jump out just immediately regretting his decision of jumping in there.
On a lead, would you get a GA on him since he's already is 7-1 at this point? You'd be able to get the armor, slight armor increase,
yeah, absolutely.
and the GA at this point.
You're absolutely correct. After this Maw, I would definitely, which he's just finished, I would definitely go with building that Guardian Angel, allowing him to be able to go for those risky plays, kick an enemy in, and be able to, even if he dies, he doesn't die.
Yeah, especially with the new killing streak that he is right now. Is with the new meta, was it like 7? If you're 6 or 5 kills ahead, isn't it like so much more?
They just unplugged our power bar, so a lot of pieces to shut up. So, just, you can sit one of the main Mirage.
They all went out immediately.
Sure, it looks like there was some technical difficulties that just popped up on Viero's side, so we're trying to look into it right now. Looks like there may have been a disconnect or two, especially with comms right now, so we're just trying to get any final word on that. One of the guys got disconnected and so that could actually affect greatly the game right now, but it doesn't look like since there was no balls or anything, nothing seems to be too out of the ordinary.
For now though, teleport's coming through on the side of Vireo. A flash forward and Wixie now on a rampage. Arrow does find its mark as the Soraka twice goes down. A perfect flash body slam coming through. A double kill coming in for Wixie. And Dinka cleaning up the Akali.
Yep. So we finally got the pause in the game. Most likely we might have to actually reset this match. Like I said, two of the players have finally been having to be reset. So the game is still currently paused right now. We just set it up just in case anybody came by to the stream. It's alright. Not gonna make too much noise.
They're all dead. So like, they're all dead anyway. It's not like they can do that.
So anybody who just came onto the stream, so since this event is in the BYOC for DreamHack, there are people in the BYOC section that are leaving early, and quite honestly, while somebody across the table from them was packing them together ready to leave, they unplugged one of the power strips and got one or two of the players disconnected. So we did do a pause in time for it, so we are trying to decide if we were to it might be already too late to reset the match and continue it because we are already currently 23 minutes in. So like I said, we are trying to reconnect the computers right now with the power strips and everything, so we are on a slight delay right now. Just to catch up on everybody. So right now it looks like Mirage is down. For the only one that is up is Nova from Nidalee with Nidalee bot lane, so by the time she comes up to try to get Baron, it might not be a slim shot. Well.
summoner has reconnected.
Alright guys, in a minute or two the stream is going to resume. As the refs, we are not going to be resetting this match. The only fact is that we are already currently 23 minutes into the game. Mirage has 4 guys down, and they already have 4 of their biggest damage dealers on the Baron. So this game will have to resume from where it's at. Sadly, we are on a time crunch. We only have an hour and a half, or about an hour and a half, 2 hours tops to play 2 more games if this match is the tiebreaker, or not tiebreaker, if it evens out. So if we do go to a 5-man match, in the 5th match we might actually get a mid DC from DreamHack themselves, just for the fact that they will shut off the internet in 2 hours.
Now, what will happen in the instance of that happening, where there is a DC from the internet going out?
From
How
the internet,
will that match be decided?
We have a few different options. I know in Denver, Colorado, we had a very similar situation like this happen. It was for the Overwatch finale, where they actually split the prize pool between 1st and 2nd place.
Just like a 50-50 split?
Huh?
Like a 50-50 split?
Yes.
Okay.
So like basically 2 of the players got 1st place, 3 players got 2nd, and the other team got like 2 1st place, or vice versa.
Right.
And the prize pool that was between the 2 players, between the 2 teams, was split again.
And Baron Nashor going over to the side of Virio, whereas the Infernal Dragon was secured by the side of Mirage. Overall, a common objective trade to be seen, with the 4 members dead. Thankfully, Mirage able to recoup something back, so they're not just losing a Baron for free.
So it is 24 minutes in. Virio has Fire and Ocean Drake, Cloud Drake. Wow, I can't see for nothing from here. And also Mirage has 1 Fire Drake. So movement speed buff with a little bit more extra damage. Let's see how this plays out with the Baron now.
Now, I definitely think these Infernal Drakes will benefit both sides, but if I had to pick one side I would favor more, it would be this this Virio side. You do have just more damage coming out from this team, especially if this does scale into the late game. You would start to see that Infernal Dragon really affecting Virio's side far more. But actually, Akali jumping forward nearly just gets soloed solely by Shorter Ace. Dinosaur just dying solely to the Rumble Equalizer, as well as the Gangplank, so it's unable to escape from there. Shorter Ace dominating on this Lee Sin with a double kill, now 10-1.
And it looks like Nidalee is still in the river trying to back right now, but it looks like they're going to be able to take down the tower. Take down the tap in him. Could this be game?
This is
seconds.
game of a surrender vote coming through.
Wow, did not see that
8
coming.
kills to 22. We will be back in a few minutes as Virio takes the series, or Virio is now in the lead 2-1.
So to everyone who's catching up onto the stream, there was a pause because one of the computers, actually a few of the computers were unplugged by another BYOC player. No one that was affiliated with the leagues, League of Legends. So no blame is put on anyone. It was a simple accident. There was no remake, only for the fact that at Baron, Mirage was already down. Four people were already down, and there was a 9-second death timer on Jace. So there was already a 4-man on Baron. So the Baron went down faster than any of the predictions that we could do that would allow us to do a reset. If it was pretty even, where both teams had 3 people on Baron, then yes, we would have reset. But one, because of the time constraint, and 2, the all likelihood of Nidalee coming up from bot lane to smite the Baron was nearly impossible. Even with like flashes instantly, it would not been able to call it up, so we did not do a remake. As of right now, there shouldn't be a 10-minute break. There should only be a few minutes, only for the fact that right now we are on a slight time crunch because the internet for BYOC will be cut out in about 2 hours. So one of the people asked what will happen if, let's say, for instance, we run out of the internet from DreamHack is cut off mid-game and there's no definite answer. As of right now, we will decide with the teams what they would like to do. But what was done in Denver, Colorado a year ago was the two teams actually agreed to split the prize. So the prize pool for first and second place was X amount of money. Don't quote me on the price. I'm going to make it simple terms. So first prize was $10,000. Second prize was $6,000. Let's say for the first and second place, they both combined the prize pool, so it was $16,000, split between both teams. So each team got $8,000, split between the members of the team. And then, of course, the trophies were handed out. Like one team got 2 first place trophies and 3 second place trophies. The other team got vice versa. So it will still probably even out. There was one situation as well as 2 months ago for Austin when it was also ironically another Overwatch tournament where the top team, where first and second place, the team that was challenging the first place came up and agreed that they would have lost the game and forfeited their place just to keep the second place and kept the second place prize pool. First place got first. So I will be updating the score. Right now, Mirage is down by 1, or I should say, Vireo Green is ahead by 2-1. So. If there's any questions or confusions about anything, please post in the channel. I'll do my best to answer any of the questions. So now we're looking at the third match of the DreamHack BYOC Montreal for League of Legends. So right now in the lead is Vireo, leading 2-1. This could actually be match points for Vireo. To answer Blanc's question, what's the set? As of right now, Vireo is in the lead, 2-1. If they win this, they are the finalist. Actually, I'm sorry, they are the winners of the BYOC LAN event. So, like I said, it is a best of 5. So, I'm actually curious to see how this is going to be. If Mirage can come back, we will have a 5-20. We will have our 5th match. I'll make everybody's lives easier. Let me do my overlay right here. Or slightly easier. So.
Think carefully, my friend.
The ball is angry.
So, just got near confirmation that the internet will not be cut off until 2 hours from now. So, if this does go to a best of 5, we should have plenty of time to get through all matches, and there should not be any cut of the internet in the middle, unless something magically that should be impossible to happen happens. Which, this is DreamHack, where dreams do come true, or miracles do happen, but a miracle does not have to be a good thing or a bad thing. So, we will see. now we're just with 2 minutes. If there's any questions that anyone has questions for, just post in the chat. I will be trying to respond as best to my ability as possible. So please, by all means, ask away.
Okay, friendo, how do you feel about this Rumble ban?
Funny.
Funny? Yeah, I'm feeling a little funny myself. This honestly brings back the old memories. Back on my old team, we had a Rumble one trick. Yeah, it was insane. Permabat every game.
Is that
Feels
U of
fucking
T
good.
or?
Yeah, for U of T,
Wait,
man.
U of T had a Rumble one trick?
Yeah, man, insane.
I think we banned it at some point. I don't know. We like never scrimmed U of T.
Anyways, how do you feel about this comp? Once again, Mirage running a 1-3-1, Virio countering with a 4-1.
But again, it's just jungle pressure. When you pick Trundle, you can see jungle pressure if they don't pick a tank. So they blind picks Trundle into what is a one tank comp again.
To be honest with you, I think Mirage completely, I wouldn't say
Did they
trolled.
forget that we flexed Gragas to support every single game except for top lane? We never played a jungle?
That's not to say that we can't, of course.
We can, but I don't know.
We're leaking strats.
Strats.
Stu, I had a very dumb question for people who don't know, preferably me. What do you mean by 4-to-1 comp, or 3-to-1, or 3-to-2, or
So
how-
once those towers go down, what we tend to do is
Team
teams
leaking
will,
strats. Oh yeah, just explain.
It's
the
a-
basic
it's a
foundation.
1-4.
Yeah, explain it.
teams will devolve into either a 1-3-1 or a 1-4. What they mean is that they'll have one person in a side wave, 3 people in the mid lane, and 1 person in bot lane. Because you have towers down, you're able to have more advantage depending on where you are, and it's all dependent on how far up the mid wave is. So being able to have a 1-3-1 composition means that you have champions that have the advantage in the side wave. So they want to do a 1-3-1 because they want to force Victor into a side wave with LeBlanc. Now, you want to also, if you're Virio, you want a 1-4 because you want Aatrox to be in side wave with Gangplank, and you want Victor to not have to deal with LeBlanc, so you put the Victor mid lane.
Oh, I just learned something new today. What you said? Because for me, in my eyes, like I guess it dumbed down for me. It's almost like a split push, but it's a more detailed split push in a way. I guess
Right.
would be the best.
It essentially is a split
Yeah.
push. It's just more of a, you either do a 1-4.
There's an actual strategy behind
Yeah.
it.
If you imagine League of Legends, kind of like a resource management game, each champion is its own individual resource.
I mean,
and-
like SimCity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like depending on what its attributes are, right? You put it in like for the Manuel Vault, you put it in certain areas where you can maximize your effort. So like in the case of let's say Victor, right? He's not as good in the split. He's a very good team fighter. So you want to keep him grouped where he's most able to abuse that fact. Hence allocating your resources properly. And it's just fuck man, I wanna win. Did you know the internet cuts off at 6?
Yeah, do we
It
have
actually
that?
should be cutting off at 7.
Oh,
7
okay,
or
we're
7
good
or
then.
8.
We're good then.
So we
okay.
should be perfectly fine for that. I'm used to the US where they cut it off at 6 on the dot. So this, they said like, yeah, it should be minimum of 7.
We
From my
no
understanding.
internet in this house.
From my understanding, it should be 7. I'm still looking for complete confirmation on this, but 7 would be the safe bet.
Okay, perfect.
It definitely looks like Fear is expecting a level 1 invade from the boys in Mirage. Fear
It makes sense when you have that Pike and you have the Ezreal. Ezreal, you want to be looking for those early Klepto procs. And for Pike, being able to harpoon in a target, just throw it into a bush and hope that there's someone sitting there. That's why you have the Gragas right at the front. If they harpoon in the Gragas, that's what you want. You want that target in there. He's going in there anyway.
Even then, looking at what they were expecting, it seems to me that they thought that Nova was going to look to cheese, well, not to say cheese, but prefer a strategy where he's able to dodge Nidalee in the jungle, where he can gain an advantage, just free level 1. Because what ends up happening is that if Nidalee is able to get standard cleared, Trundle is just going to get outpaced too quickly. He won't be able to catch up the levels, really catch up experience or items, and it's just going to be over. In the jungle matchup, of course, we don't know about the game.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel about this Aatrox into Gangplank matchup?
It's free, dude. It's
Yeah.
actually so free. Aatrox is an extremely strong lane bully and then picking a weak laner in the form of Gangplank and just asking to get camped, get abused. I think it's very weird because they decided to ban Aatrox every game for a very good reason. Dinka is a very strong Aatrox player. You might even call him a one-trick, but he's definitely not, as you've seen. Even Demigod himself, you would call him a GP one-trick, but he plays other champions. It's a battle of the one-tricks in the top lane. Oh yeah,
Right now he's winning. He hit that early level too. And it's a first blood solo kill.
Oh my god.
And the immediate response.
Nice.
And there we go. All right. So already a super volatile top lane.
I must say, Demigod on his Gangplank is a treat to watch. He is so incredibly good at this champion.
Yeah,
But same thing
Demigod
with
is an
Dinka.
extremely strong gangplank.
What do you think the key matchup is in this game?
I think it again is going to come down to that jungle matchup. I think it's going to come down once again to the Nidalee versus that Trundle, and just seeing can Trundle stay safe in this lane and not get bullied out by Nidalee, because that is how things are, you know, expected to go. Shorter is dodging out the chain actually. Forces the flash, but has to flash himself afterwards. A jungle flash for a mid lane flash. Ooh, and the immediate response flash from Nove, trying to get the kill onto Shorter, but the simple hop over the wall and just he's out.
I think one lane that we might definitely be sleeping on presence-wise is the bot lane. They've been silently but heavily carrying a couple of these games with their ability to win lane, start fights in the mid-game, and do consistent DPS. Chuddo on this Gragas has been absolutely insane, and not for the reasons we would expect. Mechanically, he's playing wonderfully, and it's not really often you see such a gifted mechanical support.
Yeah. Shout out to Painless.
Painless is awesome.
Painless is an amazing mechanical player as well. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a flame. That was like legitimately.
But no, shout out to the boys in Video Pro.
Yeah.
Why don't you shout out the boys from EDC?
Two of them were already here.
Yeah, didn't Kazahana play in the...
Kazahana and Squeak.
Oh
They're
yeah.
in the Canadian Championship.
Did you talk to them?
Yeah, I talked to him.
Did you comfort them? Oh really?
Yeah.
You're a nice guy, Riley. I like that. If we're gonna be shouting out our former teams, I'd like to shout out UFT, man. I love those guys.
Ooh, the orange. No mana now on Demigod.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Dinka is coming back into this matchup. The earlier level one was very interesting, but maybe it was on purpose.
I mean, it is going to be another lane to not sleep on is for sure the bot lane, like you mentioned before. Just being able, like, oh, no, don't do it to him.
No.
Not again. Ooh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought the bone plating would save him.
Look at this bot lane. This is
good
nice
hook.
Q. Okay.
But
No,
Ezreal's recalling, so.
This is definitely a lane kingdom from the Vireo Green bot lane right now. They're up 43 CS, and they just blinded their bot lane, and this is what Mirage chose to take into it. Ezreal and Pyke. And what's happening to Ezreal and Pyke?
The immediate Ezreal TP. I always love seeing TP bot laners just being able to. I mean, yeah, it's boring, but it's nice when they have that presence of mind that they're going to be weak in this lane and that they're looking for TP.
I also think it just adds a pretty different aspect within games, just rotationally and tempo-wise, because being able to just have your main objective taker on the map at any point in the time, and even then, just the ability to have such global pressure, it just makes things, it makes the game into like almost a different one. Globals are like very difficult to deal with. Oh, Dick is going for the trade again. Hulk
Now,
smash.
is there a special interaction I'm missing with this W? Because he never seems to blend that pull in on the GP.
It's just really, really easy to walk out of it.
Yeah, is it like they have to be in there for a minimum amount of time?
Yeah.
Okay.
One interesting thing I actually learned about Aatrox is that his E, the dash, you can dash while you're queuing.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
what
know that.
a lot of Aatrox plays. It's what adds that duelist side of it, where it's like you think you're gonna be out of this Q range, and all of a sudden he dashes forward. So you start trying to bait the oh, am I going to E? When all of a sudden they walk forward back into it, expecting you to E forward, and now you have an extra dash.
We're seeing a pretty big CS differential in the bot and top lane.
Good dodge from Demigod, but once again you have shorter ace. Just not giving Demigod any room to breathe.
What do you feel about Mirage's bans in these past couple of sets? They've been banning the Galio.
Oh, Demigod dies to Dinka there. Or, no.
Can
well,
he get the execute?
does he get the... No, he will not.
Unfortunate. But
Unfortunate.
At the same
Good
time,
rotation.
this
And definitely an overstay on that tower dive.
This means that Wixie and the Arc Turtle have to get massive amounts of damage on this bot turret.
Wixie and Odd Turtle going in on this bot tower. A massive wave already built up. Tower being taken down at half HP.
Do you think they're able to take this down?
With next wave, yeah.
At this point,
Because no one's coming. Pyke is roaming, but he's going to be out for a bit. And they do take the safe approach, though. They do back off. You know, not having level 6 on that Gragas does make it a little bit risky. Yeah, it's not level 6 on both supports, but having that ulti on Gragas is so useful for this bot lane matchup. Because being able to knock in Ezreal after he uses his E.
do you feel like Mirage should have been banning shoulder races Nidalee and Lee Sin?
No. Because at this point, it's if I'm Mirage, I'm recognizing that just whatever you give shorter A's, he's going to have jungle pressure. Because that's just how he plays. Yeah, giving him those champions makes it even worse, but it will not stop the bleeding. It just means that you have to give up something else. Like either you give up the Galio or you give up
The Camille.
yeah, the Camille. So you don't want to give this up. So what do? You just don't ban either of them and don't pick either of them. Play your own game, and that's what Mirage went for. They just went for the I'm just going to play my game.
Oh my.
Forces the flash wave. Will it be enough? No, it will not. Demigod drops. Odd Turtle going down to a gank.
Good cross map.
A very good cross map response, and you will see possibly the top tower going down, the minion wave being low, but I believe there should be enough with this next wave coming.
It definitely feels like Virya Green is the more flexible team, I would say.
They've been say that.
I say that because while they're running this certain style, right, where they have the aggressive jungler, the control wave mid, and then, you know, a self-sustainable top lane, it seems to me that they have so many champions where they could just fit into this role, fit into this archetype, and it seems like Mirage just doesn't have an answer. They keep on trying to ban the Galio because they don't want to play against the Galio, but it's pretty evident that they can't play against this. What do you think?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that that's a multi-dimensional necessarily, or that they're one-dimensional. I would instead just say that it's you understand that you need to understand what you can play against versus what you can't. They understand that they can't play against Galio no matter what, so they try their luck.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully the stream is back up again. Let me just confirm that over here. So give me a few more minutes, guys. We do apologize for this. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3 again. Alright guys, can anyone confirm for me if my stream is now on or off again, please? That'd be the best. Not too sure if the internet is back up again. One. So right now, because of the internet issue, we just had a slight internet issue where apparently the internet was cut. Don't worry, we will be doing a remake, same lobby, same pick a band, same pick order, all of that. So we are having a remake. The other good thing is that the sad part is the internet was slightly cut, but since it was in the middle of the game, we will be resetting.
Back up.
As of right now, it is Vireo Green in the lead, 2-1. Give me a few moments, guys. I'm just going to be trying to reconnect it into the game.
Get out.